be streaming.
Fresh.
We are on the internet, I believe.
I see the red light. There's a red light.
What does that
And
mean?
there's
Is that good?
Probably music and stuff.
The red light district? Is that where we are?
The red light district. Hey, Wilson, do you read us? Copy. Over. Wilson. This is the
Roger,
Eagle.
Roger.
Roger.
Has the Eagle landed? We don't know.
Everything's on. I can hear you guys.
All right.
That's all.
Doc says he can hear us all the way in Utah. So
Yeah.
we're getting out there.
On my phone.
Oh, hey, Wilson hears us.
We're
Hey,
getting out
Dave.
there. Nice. Okay, I hope I remember how to do this D&D thing. It's been...
Yeah, what?
Oh, sorry. I thought you said, hey, Dave.
I did.
Oh, hi.
I meant, hey, Wilson.
Oh, there's more than one
He's
Dave.
awesome.
Is that what you're trying to say?
Hey, Wilson's hanging out
How
in
is
chat.
that
Yeah,
possible?
he's been camped out for tickets for like a week.
That's a long line.
He's a good and faithful subscriber, supporter guy, man.
I look
Sir.
forward to seeing him at the meet and greet later.
He's like our stream Goomba. The meet and greet. Oh, did we schedule a meet and greet?
Well, he's a VIP. He gets the meet and greet.
The
That's
VIP?
true. Is he a VIP? He's
Is
not a VIP. We're going to change that. We're going to make
Yeah.
him a VIP.
Should.
How do I do that? Cheer. Where's your guys' name? Yes.
There's like rolls or something.
Need to. Yeah, it's in chatbot.
We're so live.
We are live. Should we go ahead and do stuff? Just like
I don't know
sitting
why we
around
wouldn't.
goofing off. Yeah, don't you know?
You betcha.
All right, well, let's do stuff.
All
Let's
right.
do it.
Let me hang on. I'm trying not to crash. Hey, Wilson in chat. There we go. All right, yeah. Whenever you're ready, Dave.
Okay. We'll do it. In
Let's
3,
do it. Here we come.
2, 1.
All right, friends, we're back after a much needed hiatus, and we're all ready to go. Today, we're going to kick off with a little bit of a prologue. And so this is elsewhere in the region, and Ming is fumbling about in a place he's about to describe. And so we're going to kick things off with a little prologue, a little bit outside the about to be current action. Take it away, gentlemen.
I envision you see this gray garbed figure climbing these mountainous pathways to this remote temple, a place that he has been determined to get to in a long, long journey. Arriving at the temple, he finds it ruined, having recently been attacked. Iconography destroyed, boulders lying in the pathway, bodies strewn. Anybody who might be seeing or watching or observing this temple would see this cloaked figure busying himself, not taking too long to mourn, but looking for survivors, not finding any until Ming, my PC, finds one priest of the temple, and this is a temple of Zanye, hidden in the mountains. He finds this near dead priest cradling him in his arms and whispering. There's a conversation taking place that you might see. And Imnada, I'm not sure if you would be close enough to overhear what's being said. But you hear, if you are, you hear, "This I vow. As Zanye is my witness, it will be done." And then he just holds, and you watch as the life force of this priest that he's holding just fades.
And right as you're making that vow, does eagle comes flying in from high above, and right as it is about to land on the ground, it transforms into this tall humanoid in a dark cloak with a holding a staff, and he's looking around and just mutters, Beori's mercy, what happened here? And then he spies you and says, friend, what happened here?
A massacre has occurred here. These people, all of them, dead, good and loyal worshippers of Zanye. Did you see what happened here?
I did not. I agree. They were good people. I would stop in here regularly. The head monk here was a good friend of mine. He taught me some exercises to help with my concentration. And in exchange, and then he kind of gestures off to one far corner of the ruins, and you see, because this is a mountainous area, so it's not real fertile growth soil, but you see one corner is rich, like some of the richest gardening soil you've ever seen, and squashed. This garden's just been completely squashed. In exchange for the exercises he taught me, I would stop in regularly and make sure that their garden was bountiful.
You are a friend of the priests, then.
And he looks around. I was, yes.
This one here said that the temple was attacked by giants. I intend, with my oath, to avenge these people. Will you join me?
I have no love of the giant folk. I trust you. Trust me when I say that. That what happened here that was not deserved. In my travels, I've been hearing rumors of people claiming to have seen giant shapes moving on the horizon at night. But the rumors have become more and more frequent, which has led my suspicions that the giants do seem to be on the move. Yes, I would suggest that we should maybe head into the mountains. Although we're going up against giants, two of us might be not quite enough number. Have you heard of the Bloodthorn?
I have not.
It is quite a, some call it a fantastical tavern. Sometimes it almost as if it is here and elsewhere all at the same time. It's quite the place.
I've heard of places with these types of magics.
Yes.
Well then, it appears as though our fates are intertwined, at least for the moment. I must set these souls free from their mortal coil before we depart. By the flames will their suffering be eased. My name is Ming, and he reaches out his hand.
And the hand that reaches back is like the skin is like a dark orange, and he pulls his hood back, and you see a humanoid about 6'3", jet black hair that swoops over his head down to his shoulders, which follows the path of two horns that come out of his forehead and also similarly curve back. And he goes, I am Imnata Huizard, initiate of the Ninth Circle. While Linzan and I did not always agree on our religions, we did enjoy, again, we could put those differences aside just to have pleasant visits. I will travel with you. And while you're preparing the pyre, he goes over to the garden, sticks his fingers into the ground, and just mutters some words, and you see the trampled plants just start to come back to life. He says, at least some life will come out of this death. And then when the pyre is done, he offers to light it for you.
Ming will step back and allow that. As the flames flicker, he pulls his gray cloak back up to conceal his obviously half elven and Bakaluni sort of features sort of this bronzed skin, golden hue, and these piercing emerald eyes that he just covers back in gray and stands there while the bodies burn.
Good.
With
the
that,
fire dies down, let us be off.
off to Headwater it is.
All right. Nice. Very nice, gentlemen. Thank you. With that, I welcome everybody to our second Secret of the Flanaess, Secrets of the Flanaess 2. If you recall, some time ago, we wrapped up our Secrets of the Flanaess campaign. We played through Forge of Fury. You may note that one individual who is near and dear to our hearts is not among us. Enoch Pratt, Tim, played Baldwin, was unable to continue forward in the campaign. So the 4 players and I will continue to tell the tale, to tell the secrets of the Flanaess. And I am Scott Wiley Hobbit, super stoked to be DMing and back in the chair and continuing our campaign through, traipsing about the lands of the Flanaess in the setting of Greyhawk, playing classic D&D. So welcome everybody. Like to just let everybody know we're going to be doing a giveaway today. We'll activate that a little bit later as we get into the game, but we're going to give away a print on demand copy of Against the Giants. And you may wonder, why on earth are we doing that? Well, because that there is the adventure that we're going to be embarking upon in the coming sessions of our Secrets 2. So very excited about that. So we'll kick that giveaway off here in a little while. What you just saw there was a prologue between Amnada and Ming, which may or may not have relevance as we continue forward in our story. Just never know, but a little peek behind the curtain into some backstory and the meeting of 2 of our characters. Want to just take a second to offer my sincerest heartfelt gratitude and thank you to DM Dave here. He is taking the producer's mantle on, as well as playing Ming, which if you've ever DM'd D&D on stream and produced, you'll know how happy I am about that right now, because I will no longer be doing all of that all at once. So Dave, thanks for taking that on, and you'll notice right away the production quality will be ascending greatly. So thank you for doing that, man. That's a huge
Happy to contribute, man. Thanks for running this game.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. And you need to see more of Dave's handiwork. You see in chat there, he's kind of the head honcho over there at Guild Superior, and they've got some awesome games. They've got a really great Greyhawk game that they play over there, and all well produced. And so we are in more than capable hands. So very, very excited about that. Let's do this. Let's go around and meet our characters, and we'll start with the 2 characters you've already seen a little bit of. How about Ming? You were kind of the opening scene, so why don't you tell us a little bit about DM Dave, what you're up to that way, but also give us a good introduction with whatever you'd like to share about Ming.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you so much. So yeah, I'm DM Dave. I play games, produce games, run games over on Guild Superior. And just as a quick heads up, we do have a big fundraiser coming up in November for Games for Love. So make sure you come by and check that out. Follow the channel if you can. I am super excited to kick off this new campaign. I'm playing a Paladin Rogue multi-class. This is an acolyte of Zanye, named Ming. He's half elvish and Bakaluni. He has traveled from his birthplace in the Cairn Hills near the Twilight Monastery, in that general region. Traveled from the Cairn Hills all the way to where this game will be taking place on a pilgrimage to Tovag Baragu. That is his ultimate destination, but has been waylaid by a vow that he has taken to avenge the deaths of the priests and clergy at this temple, and it was a temple of Zanye where he met up with Imnada. So during his travels, he was going to stay there and spend weeks meditating or whatever it was before his next leg of his journey into the Paynims. And this is where the adventure takes him, is to avenge these deaths. So I'm super excited to test out a new character and have some fun with you guys.
Yeah. So how far away, Ming, is the monastery ruins from Headwater, let's say?
I would say probably within 2 to 3 days of rugged travel through the
Sure.
mountains, because
Yeah.
these temples are typically hidden. They're not
Right.
very, and so it would be almost, when he saw the tiefling, he probably would have been a bit surprised to see
Right.
someone who wasn't clergy there, and also to see a tiefling, but he's kind of keeping that to himself for now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, so it's not too far away from Headwater.
Yeah. Very good. Very
Yeah.
good. Awesome. And we'll get into here once we meet our characters. We'll talk a little bit about the region, where the game is set, and so forth. So we'll get everybody same page. So Amnata, tell us a little bit about you and your character, sir.
Okay, well, hello again, friends. It's been a while. I'm Carl. On the Discords, I'm Carnage, both with a K. That's the way it's supposed to be spelled. Uh, I am playing Imnata Huizard, which admittedly is part of a running joke from our last campaign where I kept being told I was a wizard and I kept saying, I'm not a wizard. And as only I can do, I just morphed that into the name of my new character. Um, he is a druid. We're all 11th level here. So I'm a druid, circle of spores. So I get to kind of dip my fingers into the necromancy realm a little bit. Um, hey, why waste a perfect good body? It can just pop right back up as a zombie and help us out. What's wrong with that? Kind of a thing. So I am picturing him as kind of a as when Scott kind of set up the setting for this new campaign, I was reading up on it. And it's like, oh, it's pretty much all humans. I'll play a tiefling, just to just to mix things up a little bit. So he's quite used to kind of a nomad, kind of roams around because it's just hard to settle down when everyone's looking at you like you're going to eat their babies or kill all their livestock all the time. So um, I kind of picture him just kind of making this loop down through the valley where this campaign's setting, and he's been picking up, as you heard, rumors that there's more and more frequent rumors of that giants seem to be on the move. And um, when he was young, his father was killed by giants, so he has no love for them. So
All right.
that is Imnata Wizard.
Amnata Wizard. Clever. Wizard. All right, very nice. Good, good, good. So let's keep cruising here. Let's go far left on the overlay as we're looking at it, and then let's meet Bull and Doc Shoulder. What's up, Bob?
Hey, Scott. Thanks for getting things going again here. Really appreciate it. Last session that we had was quite a while ago, so this will be fun getting into a new character. So, um, my character that I'm playing is Bull Mole, and if anyone has any knowledge of Night Court, there's some good references there. So, anyways, he's a Goliath. Third level fighter, eighth level wizard. He's battle master fighter, school of divination wizard. Um, so he's probably bigger than most of the rest of the group. He's about 7 feet, 300 pounds. So he's a large individual. Despite how big he is, though, I'd say that most people are surprised at how um, quick he is on his feet. So um, he's flight of foot, and he's about 60 years old, so about half the lifespan, middle age for a Goliath. He grew up in the Crystal Mist Mountains, so just kind of west of Headwater, and his tribe, primarily hunters, lived up in the Crystal Mists, and have had this relationship, as most Goliaths do, with the giants, that they just don't really get along. That they try to keep them themselves, but the giants are typically aggressive, where the Goliaths are actually relatively um, placid, and they don't necessarily interact with the giants unless the giants come after them. And so his role has been really growing up he learned to be a fighter, but then he was as a warrior in his tribe, but then he became much more interested in things outside of just of fighting, and he aligned with a shaman that was in his tribe that then taught him the ways of arcane magic. And so he's kind of moved into this being able to uh, work as a mage at the same time of understanding the art of war. And so his real job had been historically to kind of bring things down to headwater, as well as actually moving west too. So they'll go over to the dry steppes as well to be able to trade their goods that they would hunt, and then they would bring back goods up to their village. And he's come down at the request of his tribe because they're hearing that Headwater is now under potentially siege, and it's their main location of where they will do their trading. And they're concerned that they're going to lose the ability to interact with the humans that they have in the past. And more importantly, or second layer to that, is that they're worried that if the giants are starting to raid into Headwater, then they may come up into the crystal mist to start to actually raid into them as well. And so that's why he's come down to be able to hopefully head off some of the problems that are arising.
Excellent. Very good. And last, and nowhere near least, actually, Illith.
Hey, everybody. I'm Chris, WikiVA on Discord and Twitch. Man, it's good to be back. It's been such a long time, it seems. And I'm so glad we could fire this game back up and play some new characters. And I'm playing Elith von Harias, who is a human multi-class wizard slash rogue. And one of the things I thought when I was thinking about making new characters was I'd never played a 5e multi-class character, and sort of had always wanted to dabble in it. So I'm dabbling in it now. And I decided to take my two favorite classes and kind of mish them all together. So he's a little bit sneaky stabby, and he's a little bit arcane, researcher, academic type. Elith was originally born in the free city of Greyhawk, born to a noble family. He left the free city as a child, spent most of his time in the Flanaess in Marner, and has decided that he hasn't been home in a long, long time. And so he's heading back to the free city of Greyhawk. However, as he is traveling, he hears rumors of giant incursions near the town of Headwater, and having a difficult time resisting an adventure. He heads to Headwater to see if he can be of service before he resumes his journey back home.
Elith von Harias.
Von Harias.
All right. Still getting these names down. Excellent. So we've got 4 well thought out characters. Everybody is level 11 because you kind of need to be a little beefier when you run across giant kind and their ilk. So yeah, very, 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 very excited about this game. So we're playing against the giants, if you haven't figured that out yet. It was originally, the original G1 module was written in 1978 by some dude named Gary Gygax. Rumor has it he was kind of taking a break from the DM's guide and the monster manual writing for AD&D, and he penned these 3 adventures. They were originally released singularly, G1, G2, G3 in 78 by TSR. In fact, they were the first set of modules, as I've been able to determine, the first set ever released by TSR, the first ones that Gary had written. They were re-released by TSR in 1981 in their kind of their most well-known format, right? The G123 as a single book, a single publication. We're going to be playing the 2017 WotC publication that is found inside of Tales from the Owning portal, because 5e is a system I'm much more comfortable running than AD&D or even basic or expert. So that's a little bit about the game. Why don't we, Dave, if you can pull up the view of Anna's maps, And we can't do this without drop a little shout out in chat. Anna Meyer, for all of you who are pretty well aware already, right? Kind of the mistress of maps, if you will, for the Greyhawk community, and all of the things she does and all the resources she provides. Holy cow. Can't say enough. And so there you see her 576 CY edition. Our game is set in 583. If you go back through Living Greyhawk Gazetteer, if you go through the box set, the Against the Giants activities kind of started right around 583. So it is, let me get to my OneNote here. It is Star Day 22 of Ready Reet. Ready Reet is the equivalent of November in the Greyhawkian calendar. Star Day. Let's not get all Guardians of the Galaxy. We're not going to meet Star Lord or a ship's captain's log star date. It's Star Day 22, Ready Reet in 583 CY. So, Dave, if you want to zoom in, we're going to be set in Sterich. Sterich is bordered on the southeast. You see that arm of mountains there by the Jotun's Mountains. And it is within that mountain range that you can find two of the three modules set where the giants are. And so we're going to be in and around Headwater, which is deep in that valley that kind of splits the Jotuns and the Crystal Mist Mountains. Sterich is an earldom made up of various noble families, was aligned with Keoland for a while. The current leader of Sterich is his magnitude Kershard, the Earl of Sterich, who is very closely aligned with the King of Keoland, which is just up into the northeast of Sterich. And so we're going to be, again, as has been mentioned, we're going to be near the town of Headwater. And by Anna's mapping standards, Headwater is a town of somewhere between 0 and 2,000 souls. So I just decided there's about 1,250 folk in Sterich. So let me give you a little background on, or not in Sterich, in Headwater, excuse me. So about 1,250 souls. A little over 60% of them would be human. I've got about 63% of that number are human, and that's split between Iridians, Flan, and Sewell. About 25% of the population of Headwater are dwarves. In fact, the mayor is a dwarf, and there are also about 7% of that group are gnomes. There's a bunch of gnomes there, so there's a lot of mining and crafting and smithing and forestry and gems and things that are happening there. The remaining 5% of the population is made up of half elves, halflings, half orcs. So that's a little bit about where our game is located. Again, 583 CY. So the Greyhawk Wars, if you're a Greyhawk lore enthusiast, that's all kind of percolating far off to the east. So we try to be, kind of aware and connected and impacted by the things going on in greater lore and canon, as it happens, as our game progresses. So, that's a little bit about the setting. So we've met the players and the characters. We should probably just go ahead and play some D&D. So let me set the scene. That we are now going to flash forward to today, 22, Ready Reet. And I want to just point this little gem out. This is a book called Mystic Libations. It was created by Todd Stashwick and let me get his name here, Brandon Clayla. And it's a nice shot of my forearm. I hope you enjoy that. So these guys created this book. Let's see, when was this published? I got my hands on it at GaryCon. I was fortunate enough to meet Todd, and he sold me a copy, so I got to buy one from the dude who wrote it. Right, it was printed in 2021, and it's a collection, as you might guess. And you notice DM Dave's got the hat, right? Mystic Libations. It's a collection of alcohol beverages, a few non-alcoholic beverages, but really cool D&D themed mixology guide is really what it is, and it is set in a D&D place called the Bloodthorn. And so I want to set the tone. I want to give credit to Todd Stashwick and Brandon Clayla for a really cool book. And I thought it would make a nice place from which to begin our campaign. So this is a little bit about the Bloodthorn, and then we'll get underway. A half-day's trek from Headwater at a juncture of streams in a small canyon, couched beneath the ancient grandmother tree, lies the bloodthorn. Well, that's where it exists in our realm. You see, the bloodthorn exists simultaneously in several realms, but for today, we're going to just deal with the one in Greyhawk. How long has it been there? Well, that depends on who you ask. And truth be told, how long is really a matter of little importance. It's really important to understand that it is there, waiting for you to arrive. Before you see it, you'll hear the raucous laughter drifting on the night winds. Then you'll glimpse the warm firelight glow through the windows. Enter through the round door, a jaunty tune floats above the smoke of pipeweed. Pushing past the crowd of assorted elves, dwarves, and the catfolk of Claraloo, you belly up to the bar. It is a long, scarred, polished beast of art, carved with faces grotesque and sublime, rumored to come from the fallen castle of Natagor. It's rustic feywood, soaked with whiskey and half-truths. You can order up your favorite from the tapper, Mindling Roy, who will gladly mix it up for you before you finish speaking. But if you are of the adventurous type, spin the ship's wheel and have a drink picked for you. But careful, chance may have more than that drink in store. Your eyes cast about the tavern. Through the haze, you begin to take in the strange and wonderful decor. Old magic fills every corner of the room. It is part of the air you're breathing. You see, the bloodthorn is unlike any place you've ever bent an elbow. At first blush, it looks as if it were designed by a touched soul, or several. There seems to be no cohesive design, but somehow it holds together. The hardy trunk of the grandmother tree is worked into the architecture, rising through the floor, continuing upwards and eventually out the roof. Side rooms are patched together from remnants of pirate ships and dungeon walls. The bloodthorn has stairways that lead to several more floors, and some lead to nowhere at all. There are doors of varying size, high above, at odd angles, in the walls, with no conceivable way to get to them. Every nook is packed with assorted arcana and eclectic treasures that would rival Madame Borgen's curio shop. Candles burn in the skull of the great dragon Scott. A stained glass from the citadel of Brockton Court hangs next to a painting of raccoon-headed nobility. A fortunate soul may catch a conversation with the proprietors, Master Brewer Bryo Stormthorn and Tavern Keep Tory Bloodheart. They are friends of the highest order, the kind of bond baptized in battle, bounties, and bars. Ask them how they came to own the place, and they'll both smile, and one will usually say, a better question is, how did we come to belong to the Bloodthorn? And so it is here, friends, I welcome you to the hustle and bustle, the warmth, the strangeness of our tavern. The scene opens with numerous folk of all description. Bird folk, cat folk, Goliath, human, elf, all among the patrons. You see hustling about, as I mentioned. Tapping drinks, tapping ale, mixing drinks. The tapper, Mindling Roy. Roy is an interesting fellow. Bit of a impish-looking goblin folk, if you will, from the realm of Sigurn. He hustles and bustles. No sign of the proprietors, Bryo and Tori. Maybe they're here, maybe they're not. Fires on the hearth. Drinks of all shapes and sizes at the bar in front of patrons. Ale. A big sign greets you on the wall. If your eyes be cast down and your mouth drawn a frown, find your way and bring all your mates a ways up the trail through bramble and dale, where your troubles and worry abates. It's called the Bloodthorn, where your spirit's reborn, by drink and by food and by fable. Ask for Tori, Obrio, or Roy, makes the trio. They'll be happy to give ye a table. And so our scene opens. Bull and Illith, are you there yet? Are you in the Bloodthorn? Are you on your way? What are your two characters doing as our scene opens?
So yeah, Bull at this point is he's about ready to walk in through the front door. He knows that this establishment he's been here before several times. This is a place where, again, he's frequented this area because he does a lot of his trading in this area. So this is something that is like that when he walks in the front door, the people will know who he is. He's unusual enough looking, and he's not the typical human that everyone will know who he is, and they'll know what he likes to drink and what he likes to eat. And so he's about kind of ready to, he's maybe 5 feet from the front door, walking towards it.
Very well. You do hear the sound of merriment. It's not dead of winter, but the windows are closed because you're in the foothills of the Jotuns, just northeast of Headwater, up a small tributary. The place is out of the way. It's not really, from your comings and goings, especially as an established adventurer, it's not frequented by the commoners, by the locals so much, except those who have business or bring business, who need news or provide it. And so it is probably on that errand that you come to the Bloodthorn this eve and pull the door open, and the fingers of light through the dusky haze of pipeweed greet you. You see a few familiar faces, a couple tankards are raised. Different from where you go in Headwater and other mostly human settlements. No one casts you a strange eye here. You're welcome here. You're known by some, not by others, but no one gives you a second glance that you've become accustomed to as a Goliath among humankind and other demi-humans.
So Bull, as he's kind of coming right in through the front door, just to kind of set again his appearance, he's pretty big. So as he's coming in through, he's 7 foot tall. So he's got to stoop down as he's kind of
right.
It's the doors are 7 feet tall, 6.5 feet tall. So he's just kind of scoots in right underneath the door as it opens. He is geared up. He's wearing probably more than what he would normally on his normal treks that he's come in, selling the hides that they've killed, as well as bringing in some of the other local mining that they've done up at, rocks and gems and whatnot that they've been able to find up in the mountains that they'll bring down to trade to be able to get other foods and wares. And that's basically what he's been known for. So it's a little atypical for him, but he comes in and he's wearing a cloak over the back of him, but you can see that as kind of one shoulder, the cloak is kind of off of that side. And he's got this kind of jet black armor that's over him, which is a little bit unusual again for him. And despite kind of being in a little bit different gear than he normally would be, he kind of just very easily slides his head underneath the door. He peers over to the bar. He sees Roy. It's Roy.
Yeah, Mindling Roy. And again, he's, like 2 feet or smaller, chubby little green skin, little horns, imp. He's got mugs of somehow he's got mixed drinks and mugs, like a tray of mixed drink mugs. He looks to you and kind of nods and winks, and his little wings flutter as he's delivering drinks quickly out to tables from behind the bar.
So Bull sees him, he eyes him. And so Bull appearance is, he basically has this kind of dark blue gray skin, has tattoos that are black striped on his head. So clearly not a human. And despite that, doesn't really kind of phase Roy. He sees him. He knows where he's going. He's going to take his normal seat where he normally will go, and knows already that pretty quickly he's going to have some refreshments and some food. And so as he does this, he kind of slides into this back corner that's in the kind of in the furthest away from the bar, but he can from this seat he can see not only the bar but he can see the entrance of the so anyone that's coming in he has his face towards them and throws his cloak off. He has he has a large hand axe that's with him and his shield. He puts that down the side and kind of gives a big harumph as he sits down because it's been a day and a half of him trekking here from his home.
Sure. Yeah. So you shake off the cold and damp of the night, stomp across the knotty pine, yellow pine, beautiful floors, all the wooden furniture. Just think Fey meets arts and crafts style, all hand carved wood. Beautiful, beautiful place. The exterior is built into this grandmother tree, which is this huge tree that just spreads and sprawls over this little opening along the stream where the footpath leads from the main trade road. The style of the exterior, Tudor, right? So it's kind of this Tudor type style built into this tree, and inside beautiful carved wood, all wood tables, walls, everything. Some tables have like stone tops on the round table. Some may have glass. And by the time you're able to make your way to an unoccupied table, there is Roy, the mindling Roy, thumps down an impossibly huge wooden tankard of your favorite, the Bloodthorn Brew. Now, this book that we're playing from is actually a sort of an arcane mixology recipe book. And I'm not going to, if you want the recipes, you're going to have to buy the book, which I recommend. I don't drink myself, but I've heard they're really wonderful. So I don't want to give away all of Todd's secret recipes because that would be unkind of me. But I will tell you that the stout, if you're familiar with the New Holland Brewing Company, this is Dragon's Milk Bourbon Barrel Aged Stout with some chocolate port wine. So it's a thick and syrupy, if you have anything going on around your face, stubble or beard or otherwise, it's going to grab some of the froth or the head off of this stout. And he thumps it down on the table, doesn't even say a word. Yet you exchange knowing glances and are able to glean that he's in his absolute heyday moment, loving life, serving guests, and he sees the careworn look on your face, tilts his head for just a second to you sense he's concerned, and then he's off.
Bull at this point he has not said a word. He said everything with his eyes so far as he's moved in, and there's a couple glances that kind of people look up from their food to see him a little bit, but and he notices this, but they're the regulars because they're again, like what you said, this is a little bit off the beaten path of a restaurant or a bar or inn, etc. for him, but he knows it and they know him, and so he pulls off his gloves, and he's got these big blue mitts. Hands are just massive. He doesn't grab the handle. He grabs the whole side of the mug and basically throws it back. Some of it splashes down on his face and kind of uses this other hand to basically wipe it off. And he looks back up at Roy, and hopefully Roy will turn and look to him, and it's clear that he wants food. And so he's just expecting the next course to be coming.
Yeah. Roy looks at you and kind of like, really? I got this. And as you're like trying to communicate to him non-verbally, 3 halflings come out carrying platters, and they set in front of you. One smaller platter is a big heaping pile of steaming roast beets slathered in butter with about 3 inches of their greens still attached. You'd swear you see the dirt that's still on them from being plucked from the earth earlier today. And then a large, sort of a crown rack of goat set before you, steaming hot, sizzling, and a big bowl on the third platter that has these roast potatoes and onions that have been quartered, the sweet kind, mind you, not the kind that'll get you kicked out of bed. Down in front of you with some very utilitarian pewter eating utensils. And he nods and moves off impossibly quickly. It's a marvel at you see him moving about among the rest of the staff, and there are halflings who seem to be handling the delivery of food to the tables, and some of them are so short they actually have to, really get up to get the platters on the tables. The bar is mostly full, as it always is, which is a head scratcher given its remote location and the fact that the locals don't frequent this place. And yet here we are. And again, you see elves, dwarves sitting not in amongst their own kind homogeneously, but mixed at tables at the bar. The bar is almost completely full, elbow to elbow, people telling stories. You see a familiar face, a halfling of some local repute, over kind of holding court in the corner, not too far from the fireplace, which is a huge stone hearth, has a roaring cherry wood fire upon it. And you see it's a charming fellow. I mean, exudes charm. Sun-baked skin, freckles, bright red hair. He has a short bow that is always within reach, leaned against the hearth, dressed in the browns and greens that are common, leathers and things, traveling gear, cloak, holding court at a table of very intently listening folks. And you obviously just watching Finch Cloak is his name, as you know, this local scoundrel, plying his wares, some people throwing some coin as some laughter bursts out. There's perhaps a joke or two being told, hopefully not at your expense. And he's just kind of carrying on across the room as you begin to dig into your sumptuous meal.
Yeah, so Bull, knowing the costs, knowing what he's been there, he knows the place. Just as the halflings are bringing out the food at almost simultaneously, he's grabbing into his side pouch and he pulls out a gold piece and slams it on the table with his mitt at the same time. And almost simultaneously as the food is brought out, the gold piece is just swept away with him at the same period of time. He knows that it's too much, that it's way more than what would normally be spent for the food that he's eating. But he also knows that because he's taken care of them so well in the past, that his expectation is that when there's time for need for him, that Roy and Tori and Brio will always they'll take care of him. So he's just he's there to help, and he's not is a little glimpse into who he is, that he's really, even though he's this massive individual, that he's caring and he's thoughtful and he's thinking of the people that are taking care of him. He eyes the halfling Finch. He knows him from past. He's had some interactions with him, and he after taking a little bit of his food, a couple bites of his food, he gets up and he starts to actually walk over to where Finch is holding court.
Okay, very good. So let's pan a little bit to Elith. I'd like to understand a little bit about what's happening with Elith in this very same moment.
Well, I think Elith arrived at the tavern before Bull did, and he was seated at the bar when Bull entered the tavern, and Elith is when he first arrived and entered the tavern, he's never been here before. He's not from this area, and he was struck by the fantastical nature of the place. Different beings, creatures he hasn't seen before, unusual goblin-y winged bartenders, and he was just overwhelmed by that. But he decided to sit at the bar, have a drink, and sort of take in the sights and see what was going on. he's headed to Headwater, but he decided to stop at this place and see if just see what was going on and what whether there was any more information he could gather about what had been happening in the area. So as the door opens and Bull enters the the room, he sort of stands out, even amongst everyone else. And Elith is watching him as he takes his seat and silently orders his drinks, and all the platters of food are being brought, and he's watching. Elith is watching him with some amusement, and he turns to the person sitting next to him and he says, "Ah, I suppose we just overfeed the giants. Perhaps they'll all get stomach aches and go away. Am I right?"
Raucous laughter erupts. Everyone looks around, not out of fear of offense of the Goliaths who are there, not even for fear of offending the particularly big one that just walked in. All in good fun and good nature is assumed, and so a couple of individuals, apply a few backslaps to you. Ah, good one. Ah, yeah, raise tankards and various mixed drinks. Are you? What sort of beverage would you be interested in that Elith might be enjoying?
So I think when he came in, he would have been interested in the random sort of thing. He would have spun the wheel.
Okay, well, let's do that. Let's spun the wheel,
Let's do it.
and let's see what on earth happens when you spun the wheel.
Yeah, and what do I do to spin thy?
Well, I'm going to tell you that as soon as I figure it out myself.
Right.
Seems like that would have been a thing I could have had figured out, but
Well,
whatever.
I think it's fitting that
like
the
Price is
first
Right
die
wheel.
the first
It's
die
like-
roll of the game is going to be for a drink.
For a drink.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
roll me a percentile.
Percentile. Okay, I have to get the ones I can actually see. A 56.
Okay, and roll it again. 56. Don't forget that. 56.
Roll 56 again. 24.
Okay, if we add those together, that's 80, right?
Sure.
Okay, so 80. Yeah, so what you're enjoying right now, let me describe it for you, is a drink that Roy, R-O-I, right? Mindling Roy. And again, well, we'll get to that in a second. He calls it Darkwood Cider.
Oh.
It's a rum drink with root liqueur, some lemon juice, apple juice, vanilla syrup, soda water. So it's got some sweet, it's got some tart, and it's garnished with an apple slice. And it's in a tall, slender glass, and it has like vining and ivy wrapped around it. And it's got this big wedge of apple slice, Granny Smith type green, sour apple to kind of counteract the vanilla syrup and root liqueur, which is a sweet, dark, think like alcoholic birch beer kind of. Yeah, so it's very earthy and cidery.
Nice. So after I said what I said, I take another drink of the drink and I say, I thought perhaps Headwater would need the services of someone like me, but I see perhaps I was mistaken. You all seem to have it well in hand here.
So Roy kind of floats over to you. It's not often that strangers enter under the auspices of such confidence. I'm going to ask you to roll Arcana or Intelligence, whichever is better.
Oh,
Elith.
dear. Well,
Oh
I
dear.
look at a character sheet.
Yeah, you're gonna have to actually. You are now playing D&D to its fullest extent. We're doing dice and everything.
Arcana or Intelligence, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, a fine first roll. So with my modifier, I got a 16.
Okay, so with a 16, you're pretty sure as you watch Mindling Roy move about, and he's moving at this incredibly quick pace, like he's almost one place and almost blinking, very, very quick and efficient, and he seems to be the source of all the drinks. Now he's got wait staff that'll help with food and simpler things, but he prides himself in being connected to each of the patrons personally, brief conversations, knowing glances, so forth. And the best you can figure out is he's some sort of winged imp-like sort of goblin kind, but not of this realm. Some of your arcane studies, things that you've read about over the years, you've heard of a place called Sigurn, Sgurrn, and you're pretty sure this is one of those imps, goblin kind from Sigurn, but legend has it that Jesselcrest devoured Skirn. And so it seems odd that you would see one of these folk here. This may be the last of that kind, because you're puzzled that, like, you're going way back in the recesses, and that's what you've come up with your 16. So he's an odd duck, to say the least, and you don't know much about him other than, kind of like, but that can't be right, because again, Jesselcrest devoured all of Sigurn, but yet here we are. Odd. And he comes over. Oh, yes. We Headwater may need some help. I don't know. And he kind of looks around the room, very evasive, and then he gives you a knowing glance, like a nod, like, oh, yeah. Does he need some help? And he... and flits away. That's about all you get. You see the same scene again, people eating, drinking, carrying on, coming, going, all manner of creature. You're very familiar with the Fey Wild, so you know that you are definitely in a Fey-touched, very special and unique place, for sure, to be certain. And it's, at the very least, for a wizard of your expertise, quite intriguing indeed.
Well, he's scanning around for people who look like maybe adventurer types, or someone who like that, who might be heading to Headwater to help with the incursion.
Okay.
All the while keeping his eye on the giant.
Sure, yeah. So the one thing that does jump out at you is this halfling individual over in the corner. He's got his back to the corner. He's up on a chair. Not that he needs to be, but it seems to be helping him do his business, which is to talk, tell stories, tell jokes. People are flipping him coins, asking him questions. He seems to be very free with the coin. You would, if you study this at all, maybe roll me perception, and I'm going to have you do the same thing, Bull. Roll perception as you watch this Finch cloak fellow.
Bull got a 12.
And I got a 15.
Okay. So, Bull, you would definitely see a couple of people, humans, whatever, not really important, maybe approach him, have a few words. Elith, you're certain when you see people, approach and converse with Finch, even in mid-story or mid-tale, you would almost be certain you saw the glint of coin pass from this individual to whoever came up to him, as if he were giving them coin for something, which seems odd because it seems like he should be the one who's getting coin. And in most cases, people are flipping him coins and asking questions and so forth. With your perception, Elith, you will hear words like rangers, giants, concerns, as the tone of his delivery starts to change, become a little more serious, and you see people, kind of regard him and sit back and be a little more serious and less frivolous or party-like in their engagement with him.
I think Elith would pick up his drink and he would start heading in that direction to see if he can hear more of the conversation.
Okay, yeah. And there's, you can squeeze in at the table. People kind of come and go as you watch this happen. If you had to guess, like Bull, this is a typical occurrence. This is kind of how he rolls. He's, him to be a bit of an information broker. That he's wanted by certain officials for certain things. That he's probably scalawag is the right word. He's very, very benevolent with those who would benefit from some help of some sort or from some coin, and the wealthy nobles and the officials of the area are not so fond of him. And he heads up a group called Finch Cloak and the Cheerful Associates is the name of his little organization. They're not based in Headwater; they're just around. And I would say also that I'm not a Wizard would also be aware of who this individual is. He's got a reputation in the area. Um, doesn't spend time in town so much because, well, he would run the risk of incarceration and so forth. Um, but he doesn't have a reputation as a ne'er do well. Yeah, almost Robin Hood like, if you would. Yeah. Okay. So, Elith, you approach. Bull, did you say you were approaching as well?
Yeah. So he, again, Bull, at this point, he took a couple bites of his meal, threw down the gold, which was picked up, and then he sees Finch in the corner holding court, and he knows that based upon what the information that was given to him from the returning Goliaths that were coming back to his tribe, his village, that he would most likely get the information that he needed from Finch.
Okay.
So as he approaches, he sees that there are these other, surrounding individuals around him. There's a bench that's open that's close to him, and he takes basically two steps to get over to where it needs to be, and then slams himself down on the bench. And as he kind of slams down, the other people on the bench kind of go up on the sides as they kind of their butts kind of go up like 2 inches off the bench because as he comes down onto it. And he looks straight at Finch at this point, and he goes, "Little man."
Well, by the gods, if it isn't Bone Mole. Good to see you. Well met, friend. He kind of doffs his little cap. It's got like a feather and, just exactly curly red hair, fiery red hair, a halfling, slender fellow. And he doffs his cap and gives you a low bow. At your service. Well met. How about a round on behalf of our friend Bull for everyone? Yes, very nice.
He looks at him and he knows that the kind of antics that are going on. He says, "Little man, my brothers told me of what is going on here. I need your help. It's clear there is problems happening here, and they said that you are the one to find."
He kind of cocks his head and looks at you and he starts to gesture to some of the folks who've been sitting there for a while, and they quickly disperse, like, "Oh yeah, right away." And it's you and Finch and this other fellow who didn't follow directions when folks were asked to disperse. And I'm going to go ahead and just tell you it's Elith who's approaching the table as well. And Finch cocks his head. "Well, stranger, I don't know that I've seen you here before, but my large friend here and I are going to have a conversation. But there's free drinks at the bar for you, courtesy of Mr. Bull."
Well,
He looks at you like,
I'll sit down. I'll sit down and say, I'm happy to wait. I came to bend your ear, but I'll wait for you to finish your conversation.
"Bend my ear," you say. "Well, that will cost you some coin, of course."
Of course.
And he pulls out a purse and turns it over and shows you that it's empty. "If you wish to stay." And he kind of looks over at Bull to see if you think that's okay.
So Bull kind of slightly nods to Finch, but then as he's doing this, he looks over and basically stares down Ilith, and just like straight in the eyes, not like anything. And he goes, I forget, is Lilith human or elf or?
Elith, he's human.
Ilith, okay. He looks at me and goes, "Human."
"Oh, you are very astute. You're naming all of us today." And he's like flipping a coin and, waiting for you to figure out who the hell you are.
You're getting the feel that it's clear that the Goliaths, how they actually frame like the people that are around him, less are with regards to who their names are, but what their race is or who they are. Meaning Like, is this a large person or small person, etc.? And could probably care less with regards to what his actual name is. He goes, "You have interest in what I'm discussing?"
Well, I suppose that remains to be seen. I have interest in a great many things. I simply thought I would sit here and wait for you to finish your conversation before I began mine with this gentleman.
Oh, how cordial and neat. Very nice. Yes. What about that coin?
He'll,
So-
Elith will pitch a gold coin into the pouch.
He'll catch it, bite it. Oh, very well. Not from around here, though. Oh. Don't know that I'm familiar with this coin. Where's it from? He kind of leans in.
Well, I suppose information like that would cost you money.
Into the purse. Purse vanishes into his waistcoat or under his armor, leather armor, you know. Well then, aren't you an interesting one? And you see Mindling Roy is setting about putting drinks around the bar at Bull's from Bull's treating everyone on a round. And he just looks over at Bull and, you know, gives you the, like, you're covered. You already, you know, took care of it. So, boys, what is it you like to know?
Oh, please, I interrupted your first conversation. I will simply wait for you to discuss this, your whatever, with this charming.
So Bull like looks over again at Lilith and Elith.
Lilith is like a fair, I think.
That's right. It is like a fair. Elith. I gotta get it. And he can tell that just from his interactions that he could potentially be someone that could be helpful. So he's not quite sure if he could be trusted, but he can tell that there's enough interest that there might be some value. And then he kind of swings back to Finch.
As he looks at Elith, Goliath looks at Elith, Elith smiles.
And then he looks at him and he's like, maybe not. But no, then he goes back to Finch. And so he says, Finch, as you know, my tribe has been trading with the humans in Headwater for centuries. My brothers that have come back most recently have told us of problems that have been occurring, and they've come back without any of the wares that they brought down and with nothing back to the tribe. We've had discussions that it's clear there is problems, but unclear of where they're coming from.
As you're speaking, he steps away from the table and pulls something out of another pouch somewhere and strikes a flame. It's a wooden stick, and immediately just a little stone, some sort of ceramic stone fired pipe, big cloud of smoke as he gets some pipe weed going, flicks the thing back in the hearth and steps back. Yes, go on. That sounds terrible.
So Bull continues looking at it, and it's clear like the smoke is just kind of like in his face. He doesn't really care. And you've known me over the years. I'm honest and trustworthy to this tavern owner and the people of this establishment. I know what you do. Despite that, it may be not in line with what my goals are. I know that you might be helpful to my cause and my people.
Well, as you know, I'm not one to take lightly the accumulation of wealth, and so sometimes I might find my ways clear to maybe redistribute amongst the folks who could benefit most from it, you know. And so to hear of people stealing and pillaging, well, it gets in my lane, if you will. I don't like it much. And honestly, you're right. There's strange things going on out there that might or might not be of interest to you. Indeed, yeah.
Bull turns to Illith and says, "And what of your interests?"
Oh, what?
Yes, it's your time to speak now, I do believe, now that the topic's on the table.
Well, I I'm traveling back to my home. I heard there was giant problems in this area, and here I am.
By
He-
giant problems, do you mean large type problems that are big and unwieldy, or more like problems with the giant folk?
Well, the
Not
rumors.
to insinuate that our friend here would be amongst those problems. He's
Of course not. That was certainly my question when I heard those rumors. Are they a giant problem, or are they problems with giants? It was unclear to me. I assumed, however, that it was problem with giants.
well, they're known to be in these parts, aren't they? And he kind of nods at Bull. And none of us here are much fond of the critters, are we?
Yeah,
Well-
Bull knows that as he hears giants, it's clear there's just unpleasantness to him. You can see that it's almost like he's just eaten something sour, and it just is. It is not. They're just the words, and it was. This was the first time that Bull has actually heard that there might be giants that are involved, because the words that were brought back from the trading Goliath brother that came back to the tribe had nothing to. There was no words with regards to giants potentially. All that was that that Headwater had been having raidings, burnings. They were a lot of their the gear that they would and food and wares that they would be able to trade back to the Goliaths had been destroyed, and because of this, Bull was sent down to find what the problem was. So hearing giants, you could tell that it's just it's not something that he would, I guess, be he would it's not to be unexpected, but it's just unpleasant for him to actually hear that.
Perhaps a piece of unsolicited advice, my large friend. Eating that much food in that short a time can cause issues with your stomach and your bowels.
Off smoke, picks up his little, kind of like a martini glass with a kind of a foamy orange liquid with some odd fruit swimming in it. Not actually swimming, but floating in it. It kind of almost spits it out as you make the joke and then mention bowels and things.
So right as Illith does this, Bull basically burps and then looks at me and goes, "Humans," and then goes back to Finch.
Right. And he kind of gives you some sort of a high-fivey fist bump thing that, local to the Bloodthorn. Walks right across the table, to where you're seated on the bench all by yourself now. And it's just the three of you at this table, as other folks are kind of looking over there, but they know to mind their own P's and Q's, right? As Mindling Roy flutters over and lands on your shoulder. Oh, this is, yeah, you want to invest some coin in this conversation, friend. The little one knows much. And he flits off, and he replaced your empty tankard with a full, frothy, overflowing tankard.
Bull stares at Finch and says, "Tell me more. Tell me of giants."
Well, before we get into all that now, seems that, as a matter of integrity, not you, of course, Mr. Bull, because I know you're, but this newcomer here, what are your intentions, friend? And he kind of leans, presses his hands on the table, leans across.
As I mentioned, I heard rumors. I'm here. I also saw that you seem to know a lot about the area, and I have a question I'd like to ask.
Finch Cloak, I know all there is to be known.
Good.
Or I can find it out if it isn't yet known.
Well, then perhaps I'm looking for something in addition to giants. Perhaps you can help me with.
All right, then. Well, so you're here on your own business, then? Your own agenda?
Well, I have multiple businesses, really. I'm here for my own business. I'm here for giants. I'm here for all sorts.
Interesting. Well, I'm pleased to make your acquaintance.
Well, likewise, of course.
There may be much we can discuss, but yes, business at hand. So who'll be paying for the information? He kind of just stops and looks at John.
Yeah.
Well, I'll take another coin, another gold coin, and I'll flip it at him.
Is it a coin of the same mintage?
I would say that it is, well...
or is it yet another one? from somewhere else, far and wide from here.
Oh, I'll say it's from somewhere else.
All right, that's exciting. Yeah, he catches it, gives it the quick bite, just looks at it, maybe pulls out a jeweler's loop to have a quick look into his pouch. All right then, well, let's continue. So it seems the giant kind have been spied moving about up in the mountain passes, and more so than normal. You don't see them much. Way to the south, we got the frosties, the chilly, angry ones. And then, of course, you got the stupid, fat, blubbery, Chief Nosran and, them hill giant dumbasses. He kind of looks around, but more than normal. And what's strange about it is we're seeing them. The rangers have been reporting that they're seeing them with the ogres and the orc kind. And normally, well, the giants eat them or enslave them or some means, but now they seem to be in cahoots or something, moving together. And there was a hunting encampment south down the end of the valley that was burnt to the ground, no survivors. And you know what they found there? A club bigger than me and some large footprints. And he kind of stops and lets it sink in as the fire pops behind him. And then he looks up and people kind of go back to what they're doing. You notice now that he draws your attention out of his story that the sound, the inn has grown a little quieter. Seems you're being listened to be expected. But worse than that, the farmstead full of humans, the Soul types. Yeah, they were burnt and destroyed and raided and razed to the ground. Yeah, that was 3 nights ago. Mayor Hillsplitter, and he kind of nods at Bull. Mayor Nandy Hillsplitter is a dwarf. He's been the mayor forever. He's, he was elected or appointed to that post by actually his magnitude himself, Kershard, the Earl of Sterich, appointed the dwarf, Nandy Hillsplitter, as mayor of Headwater. His right-hand person, Commander Harvash Tanwal, a gnome who rides a big timber wolf. They're the officials of Headwater. So Mayor Hillsplitter and that nasty Commander Tanwal, they're concerned. They're not letting out. Nobody knows yet. It's not wide and far all of this is happening, but they're concerned, and their main concern, I hear, is they're looking for some brave or stupid souls to go up and have a look around at some of these things that have been happening and see what they can find out. And well, they're not offering any coin, but they are saying that someone needs to go do something about it. Yeah, that's what I know. Yeah, they're concerned about the outpost. Piney Crag. Yeah, that one. Yeah, they're concerns.
As when he says the outpost, Bull leans in. He knows exactly where this is.
Yep.
This is something that he knows the land. He knows the area. He wouldn't even need a map to be able to actually get to this area because
that is fair. Yeah,
he knows what they're talking about.
Yeah, where the hill giant steading is. Where the frost giants are, and Piney Crag is an outpost that's on the mountainside. As you know, Headwater is right along a river, and 2 trade roads kind of come together there. And east, maybe just a scooch southeast, up in the Jotuns, is where the southeast is where the steading of the hill giants, and that's actually outside the borders of Sterich. Quite a little journey up into there. It's high country, it's rough country, but near the border, inside of Sterich, there's an outpost called Piney Crag, and that's what he's referring to. And it's an outpost of folks who help keep an eye on the area, and it's strategically placed between the hill giants and Sterich. But so yeah, you're getting this kind of bits and pieces, not a lot of detail, but enough detail to cause you maybe some heartburn or indigestion for sure.
So at this point, Bull, he gets the information that he needs. It's clear that that there's problems that are occurring. He knows what the issues are, and he, in his own mind, has already made up his mind that he's going to go and go out to try to at least get information that he can bring back to his tribe to make decisions as to whether there should be not just him, but a warring party of Goliaths that come back down from the crystal mist to come into the area to be able to actually defend this area. So
yeah, you know that giants are no trifling matter. When giants have a mind to wreak some havoc, they can do so. Now it's been decades and centuries since there's really been much interaction. So this all, between giants and the demi-humans. So this all is much for consternation. Like, this is not normal. What is this all about?
So Bull in his own mind, he's not there to kill the giants or to be able to stop this himself. His whole mindset is more information, figure out what's going on, be able to bring the information back, so that if it is clear that it's going to be putting his fellow Goliaths at risk, that they're going to come down and they're going to start a war, and they're going to bring everything that they got with them.
They're going to rumble.
So he looks kind of over at Illith and thinks that this individual might be able to help him, because it's clear there's some interest. He's not clear exactly what in his own mind what Illith's desires are or why he might want to help him, but he's got fleet of tongue enough that he feels that maybe there might be able to help him in his ways. And so he looks over to Illith and says, human, I'm planning on getting information with regards to these giants. I can't offer you much except protection and potentially treasure from my tribe that I would be able to pay at a later time. But this information is important enough for us that if you had interest in searching this out with me, I'll be happy to go to have you in my party.
Well, you are speaking my language, first of all. Second of all, it is flattering for you to think that I would need your protection, but we certainly do seem to have a giant problem here. And I am new to the area. I don't really know the area well. And he turns back and looks at, I've already forgot the halfling's name. Robbie.
Oh, Finch. Finch Cloak.
That's exactly what I said. And I look back at Finch and I show him another gold coin and I toss it over to him. And I said, I wonder if you know or have ever seen or heard of a chapel that exists in the morning, crumbles by night, only to be reborn the next day.
Oh, you like riddles, do you? 30 white horses stand on Red Hill. First they champ, then they stamp, then they stand still.
No. First of all, I take issue with the premise of your question. I hate riddles.
Oh,
and I'm looking
'tis a shame.
I'm looking for an actual place. Do you know?
As he's looking at you, Mindling Roy flies over and brings him another of his beverages. And it's like frothing over. It's this huge martini kind of triangular, shaped glass, and it kind of froths over and spills down and sizzles on the stone table. And he flips a coin to Roy, and what? It's not a riddle, eh? Oh, I've never heard of such a place. I can't take your coin for this one. I mean, I'll take your coin, but I feel like I can't give you an answer.
So
which
you've
is
never heard of
gravely disturbing. Might I perhaps take payment for some research? We might work it that way.
Well, tell me what you have in mind.
Well, I have to figure out the answer to your bloody question, because I don't know it. But if you give me an advance, I'll do some work and let you know. And I'll tell you what, I'll give you this guarantee. If I can't come up with anything, I'll return your coin.
Yes, indeed. Like how
What
much?
say you?
What kind of an advance are we talking about?
Oh, another one of them gold coins that doesn't do just fine.
I put another gold coin in front of him.
He snaps it up. All right, then. So say, give me 2 sleeps.
Two
I'll see
sleeps.
what I can find out for you.
Well, I hope you're a man of your word. I look forward to the
He
information.
looks over at Bull like, of course I am.
Good.
The word of Finch cloak is like gold in these parts. And people are like, they're swapping their drinks and raising their, and Roy is like,
Well, the dumbasses seem to think so, so I guess that's good enough for me.
the masses do indeed. Yes, they do. The masses. Yes.
So I'll return in a couple of sleeps and see what you've found for me.
That sounds quite nice. And as we're talking and so forth, the door opens. And in to the Bloodthorn enter 2 individuals, one familiar, one not. Could we, for just to freshen up our descriptions, as Amnata and Ming enter the Bloodthorn? Each of you guys, Amnata, you want to give us another kind of a refresh description, and Ming follow?
No.
Or not?
I'm kidding. Yeah, as Nada enters, he throws his hood back and kind of almost visibly relaxes a bit, like, here's a place I can just be myself. And he is about a 6'3" dark orange skinned tiefling, wearing a dark cloak and walking with a staff. The staff is interesting that the middle of it is like, it's like a typical wooden staff, but it's almost as if it's progressing from, at the very top, it's little sprigs of holly and things are poking out of it, and all the way down to the bottom where it's almost petrified wood. So, and he just walks in and takes a deep breath and goes, the bloodthorn. Many of you have never been here before. 2 things. One, if you need to use the restroom, there are 3 doors. Do not go into the one with the flames on it. Trust me on that one. And 2,
Noted.
if you've never had any, unless of course you are immune to fire, and if you've never had anything here before, I would recommend the Buccaneer's Bounty, or take your chance and spin the wheel. And he waves over at Mindling Roy, and walks up to the wheel, gives it a spin.
Very good. Ming, what do folks see as you enter?
Ming enters, and he is, he's got his cloak pulled fairly tight, although he follows the gesture of his companion and throws it back. And you see this very golden-hued skin man in his probably low to middle 30s, roughly, piercing emerald eyes, black hair, and he is dressed in all gray. He wears a pretty well-concealed chest plate. Or breastplate, but other than that, he is fairly unarmored and unencumbered. He doesn't even appear to be armed, although you would find out right quick if you crossed him that he is fully armed and quite dangerous. But he comes off as humble and almost to blend in, not very showy, not very ostentatious, and very quiet. But he looks over at Imnata and says, I see what you meant when you said that you would be accepted here. My concern for your safety in these parts was unfounded. This is quite interesting. I've heard of places like this, connections or conjunctions or areas where realms cross and intertwine. Quite interesting indeed. Well, a spin of the wheel after this long journey sounds enticing.
So both of you step to the end of the bar where the ship's wheel is, with all of the colors and symbology that really doesn't make much sense. I mean, I'm not a recognizes, he's not his first rodeo. As you step to spin, a tiny little slender four-winged little elfly looking creature drops on your shoulder and squeaks in your ear in some strange, perhaps permutation of Sylvan, and is basically trying to get your attention to the corner where you see Bull, whom I'm assuming Bull and I'm not have probably are at least aware of one another. And an individual in the corner talking to Finch, whom you know of, albeit you're not maybe incredibly well acquainted. And at that point, we're going to draw the curtains closed across our scene so that we may take 10 minutes to wet our collective whistle and make other arrangements as necessary to guide us through the back half of our session. So I think Dave and I just made an executive decision. We're going to leave the mics hot during the break so that if anything, that's
Gutsy.
interesting should be discussed. I'm guessing it's going to be kind of quiet because we're all going to scatter for a minute. But yeah, so we're going to come back in 10 minutes. So like 3:40 Eastern Daylight Time or so, we'll reconvene. And at that point, we'll also fire off the giveaway. And we'll give that Against the Giants print on demand copy module away. We'll draw that at the end of the stream. So thanks for hanging out and welcome to the Bloodthorn. And we'll take 10 minutes to get a little break.
Awesome. Dude,
All right.
this place
All
is
right.
sweet. Like, I
Yeah.
just want to hang out in the Bloodthorn. There's some cool
Yeah.
stuff going on here.
Bloodthorn's pretty sweet.
Yeah, this
Yeah,
is
we
great.
haven't even got into the fun details yet.
Oh
but,
my God.
I'm
Yeah,
kicking
it's
myself for not grabbing a copy of this at Yaricon now.
Well, this year.
There you go.
pretty sure you'll be able to find a copy, or you can go to what
I
is
can
that?
order it. I know.
Nerd Circus.
Nerd. What is
Nerd
Todd's-
Circus.
Yeah.
Nerdcircus.com.
Circus.
Yeah, you can get a
I'll put a link
copy
in the
of this.
chat for folks.
Yeah, great
They go
idea.
check it out.
All right, I'm going to step off for just a minute,
Yeah.
and I'm going to go mourn the soon-to-be loss of my Bills. Are losing to the Patriots somehow.
Uh-oh.
What does that mean? Is that a...
That's a sports ball reference. Yeah.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
All right, we'll see you in a few minutes.
See you in a few.
Yep.
Hey, Carl, what is
Yes, sir.
I'm not is a tiefling druid.
Yep. So kind of,
And
give me,
descended
basically demon blood from generations ago. So
got it.
got
And
horns.
and you said like about 6 feet,
6'3".
6'3".
So he's not accustomed to looking up to people, but that's
Yep.
about to change.
And he's like tiefling red or
Dark. I say like kind of like a dark orange
dark orange.
skin. Jet black hair, and I think I forgot to mention it. An impeccable Van Dyke. Very well maintained.
Very good. Okay, good. I gotta know how Bull is going to address him.
Right.
I got an idea. So.
Okay. Excellent. See you soon.
Off to a great start, man.
Oops, hang on. Can't have my wife hear me talking like a leprechaun.
Like a barkeep. Like the
Right.
Lucky Charms leprechaun.
Always after me, Lucky Charms. Those
Off to a
marshmallows,
great
Jesus.
start, man. This
I'm having
place is
fun.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, the Bloodthorn is cool.
Yeah.
And we'll I hope to be able to kind of return to it and use it.
Oh, they've actually got maps. They've got battle maps for the Bloodthorn
Yeah,
Tavern.
there's a floor plan. There's a little adventure in the back. So
Oh, cool.
yeah.
I'm definitely gonna pick a copy of that up at GaryCon this year.
It's pretty wild, yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to take a look at the NA cocktails that they've got in there, or mocktails or whatever they call them.
Yeah, I mentioned to him, I'm like, it's kind of ironic that I want to buy this from you because I don't, I'm a sober alcoholic, man. I don't drink. And he just thought that he's like, oh, there's some stuff in there for you, man.
That's cool.
Yeah, that was wild. He's so nice. Todd Stachwood. Very cool.
I love that logo, that Bloodthorn logo. It's cool.
Yeah. Is there music playing out on the thing?
Yes, there should be.
Because I've lost my music sound.
There should be music playing.
Okay. I don't have any. Not that I need to hear it. I don't.
Do you need the link again? Do you want me to pop the link?
Yeah, maybe drop it in chat or Discord or something, or
let's see
wherever you want to drop it. Because it was kind of cool having it.
Yeah, it's nice to have music, I think, personally. But I'll put it in the Zoom chat for you. And that'll be the same every time. But I'll drop it in our group DM. I didn't catch the reference. Well, Doc's not here, but I didn't catch the reference between earlier when Doc was creating Bull and Night Court, but now I totally get it. And I loved that show.
Yeah, seen Dave in chat had asked, who's your Harry T. Stone? So
we'll yeah, exactly.
What Doc can come up with on that.
God, that was a good show.
It sure was, man. John Larroquette was so funny.
Yeah.
I don't know why it is, Dave, but in my Zoom meeting chat, the words are huge.
Oh yeah, you've mentioned that before.
And I have to like make the.
There's got to be a way to. Here, I'll put it in our Discord chat. There's got to be a way to fix that. We'll have to take a look at it.
Just lost Zoom.
Let's see. There we go. There secrets. There you go. I just put it back in our Discord.
By go, what do you mean, Doc? Like finish?
Are you thinking 5 Eastern?
At the latest.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. We usually try to go about 3 hours. We started a little bit late, so.
Okay, yeah. No, that's great. That's perfect timing. It's just.
As long as that works, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's great. I was gonna hit the links, catch 9.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I'm a fan of Sunday afternoon, 4:30. Go out with a couple buddies, play 9 holes.
That'll be fun.
Nice.
The weather's still nice, so.
What part of the? Oh yeah, you're out on out west, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
still got a little bit of summer.
It doesn't
left.
it doesn't usually. It's like right now starting to get dark at 6:30, 6:45, somewhere in there, and it's still like yesterday it was 75.
How's your swing?
It's pretty good. It's not too bad.
Is that what people say when they're going to golf matches or whatever?
Yeah, they do, I guess. Yeah, little golf clap.
There we go.
But Yeah, not bad. I'm a high 80s, low 90s, 18 type guy. I've
Okay.
played forever. I've played since I was a little kid, so I don't play probably as much to get better, but I'm a golfer where I enjoy golfing to for the good shots that I hit and not the bad ones. And
Mm-hmm.
so I don't get too flustered about if I double bogey a hole, but if I go out for the holes that I get a birdie. So
Mm-hmm.
whereas there are guys who go out and they're more pissed off about the bad holes that they hit and are just kind of like, yeah, they expect to actually, the ones that they play well, it's like almost they don't enjoy it, you
Yeah,
know.
right. You got to flip perspective a little bit so you can,
Right.
yeah.
So
Like my problem was that I would always lose a lot of golf balls.
yeah, you gotta keep it in play a little bit.
Yeah, that was my challenge.
Yeah.
But when I was a little
Yeah.
kid, we'd go to the golf course and we would look through the woods and we'd dive in the ponds, which was probably pretty stupid. And we'd get golf balls and then we would clean them up and we'd sell them to
Yeah,
golfers. Yeah.
totally. I used to do that as a kid until one time I did it and I got horrendous poison ivy. Like
Oh,
like
yeah.
massive, horrible poison ivy that I think like flicked a switch in my body that became where, yeah, whatever, I'd never get really bad poison ivy. But then it was like ever since then, it was like I'm highly allergic to it. And so if I hit one in the woods, the nice thing out here is there's not poison ivy, which is interesting. It's just not part of the fauna. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's that or flora,
Flora.
not
Doesn't
a
grow out
flora,
there.
fauna, but
Looks like we're
it's
all back. We should probably play more D&D.
yeah.
Our fans are clamoring. We have fans?
Hell yeah, we got fans. I got one blowing right over there, keeping me nice and cool.
Bump.
All right. So we're coming back, people.
All right, let's do it.
We're coming back. We've got some folks I have not seen in a while hanging out in chat.
We are back.
And we've been hot mic'd all this time, right?
We have.
Yeah. So we got Skagith hanging out. That's nice. And my old buddy Stump-O-Matic, who was in our very first campaign on this here channel like 5 years ago. Good to see you, Stump. Nice to have you here, brother. Woo. Yeah. So, first order of business, thanks for hanging out. So much so, we would like to reward you with the possibility of winning free stuff. As is fairly customary for our little stream here, we like to give out free stuff. And so we're going to give out a print-on-demand copy of Against the Giants, G1 through 3. The old version, the old TSR 1981, but it's print-on-demand from DM's Guild Drive-Through RPG. So let me fire off the giveaway. And not hashtag, how about exclamation point giveaway is the thing. So hopefully something just happened, and yeah, there it goes. All right, so everybody in this here room, this virtual room, is eligible, players included. Even the producers, of course, are eligible. They're most eligible. So here we go. So we're back in the Bloodthorn, this odd inn, if you will, that nobody really knows where it is, where it's from. I mean, it's here. It's very clearly here, knock on wood, and it's quite tangible. It's quite real, but it's quite fantastical. Again, all manner of, tieflings,
Catfolk.
elves,
Catfolk.
fae type folk. There's a big tree growing through there. Numerous fireplaces, odd sources of light that you can't only assume are arcane. Beautiful carved furniture, all manner of languages being spoken, and right in the thick of things, off to one side of the main hearth in the tap room, is this halfling who's been standing on his chair, meeting and discussing things in earnest with Bull and Elith. And in the front door walks Amnata Wizard and Ming. And they have decided to step to the ship's wheel to see what they can order up from the primary individual who's taking care of the bar, which is this goblin-y, impling, winged little 2-foot tall, green, pudgy, little horn bumps kind of feller, who's been tending bar and serving. So we'll start with Amnata Wizard. Amnata, would you like to roll percentile dice twice and add them together, please? As you spin this big ornate ship's wheel that has all this different kind of iconography, symbology, runes, colors all over it. A little flapper-do thing that kind of like that. Will, once it stops turning, the flapper will be between two little metal posts and it'll be indicating which thing.
Got a total of 162.
162. Well, let's see what 162 is.
Sounds expensive.
Searching 162, still looking. Where is it? I go right to it. 162. Okay, so with a snicker from Mindling Roy, he thumps down a thick glass tumbler and begins to pour some sort of brownish liquid that looks like some kind of maybe a whiskey or a bourbon, a little bit of orange liqueur, some Clement Room Agricole Martinique, whatever the hell that is, a dram of St. Elizabeth allspice, lemon juice, and also passion fruit orange guava juices, a little simple syrup. He garnishes it with a twist of grapefruit peel and some cinnamon, which is real cinnamon, right? Not this like powdered McCormick spice drawer cinnamon, right? Grates it, puts it all in a mixing tin, and then again grates a little more cinnamon on top, twist of grapefruit peel, and sets it down in front of you. Oh, is this the kobold's kick for you? Yes, very nice. Kobold's kick. Yes. And he looks over at Ming and kind of nods and waits for Ming to spin the ship's wheel of libations. Round and round she goes.
Lands
2
on an 83.
percentiles. 83. Okay, so you added 2 percentile rolls together and came
Yes,
up with
sir.
83. All right, so we go to 83. Going there. Very nice. Okay, we're almost there. Yeah, so he pulls out this wooden bowl and he pours in it some very clear, it says Appleton Estate on the bottle, and it's some rum. It says rum on there. And then he pulls out this flask from under the bar, and this thick, syrupy, dark rum comes out. Little jar of some maraschino liqueur, some orange curacao, a little bit of wine, lemon juice, soda water, demerara syrup, kind of combines all of this and then ladles out from this bowl, as others line up to get some, ladles out, oh, this is the Kraken's fury. Enjoy, but beware.
Should I
And
be
he ladles it out to you.
nervous?
So it's a heavy-duty rum, maraschino, orangey, but then there's this effervescent, very light-colored wine that he also poured in it with some citrus soda water. Made a big punch bowl full of all these ingredients. And then
Ming takes a
produced
sip.
this glass. Yeah.
Very good indeed. Thank you.
And people line up to get their glasses filled. And in no time, he's got numerous glasses filled and the bowl is empty.
At this point, Ming turns to Imnata and says, "You know people here that could be of use to our quest then?"
Oh, there are people here of all sorts of skills and abilities, but he kind of glances over at the corner where he sees Bull, and he's like, that one I'm familiar with. That would be a good place to start. Come.
Very well.
Make their way over to where Bull is sitting.
Yeah, so you see Bull, Elith, leaning in, talking as, Finch is gesturing and so forth, and there's a couple coins on the table in front of him, and he stops and looks up. Oh, well, it's the old creepy one from the woods. You're the wizard, right?
No, I am not a wizard.
Oh, I thought for certain you were, because you do all those funny things with the plants. That's you, right?
Now, Finch, we've talked about this. You don't want to be actually a Finch, do you?
No, of course not. No offense intended. No. Right, so feel free. I believe you two know one another. And he kind of looks, to you and Bull. And he kind of eyes Ming. Oh, and you've brought a friend, I see. And he sweeps his hat off in a sweeping bow. Hello, I'm Finch Cloak at your service.
Finch,
It'll cost you to sit to the table if you want to share information, and just a single gold coin will do.
Ming reaches into a pouch, pulls it out. It looks almost to be empty itself, but he pulls out a gold coin. Pleasure to make your acquaintance, Finch.
And the pleasure's all mine. I'm at your service. And he bites the coin and sticks it in his pouch.
What kind of service is that exactly?
Oh, well, it depends on what you need, but mostly information and connections. So I'll connect you to my friend Elith here and Bull. And then you'll benefit in some way, I'm sure. 'Tis the way of the Bloodthorn.
Well, nice to meet you both.
Well, the pleasure is mine. I'm Elith.
And Bull turns to him, looks at him, and he goes, "Pretty man. Where are you from, pretty man?"
Is he looking at Ming?
Yeah.
Oh.
Isn't Ming golden?
Yeah, he's beautiful. Yeah, he's beautiful.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Pretty man.
I just didn't want to make any assumptions,
Yep.
Tiefling can be beautiful. It's all in the eye of the beholders. Yeah, Ming just kind of looks up at you, even though you're probably sitting, you're about a little over eye level to Ming, and he just looks up at you and says, I have come from the Cairn Hills a long ways. We are in dire need of supplies and warriors to assist us with a giant problem that we have.
And you come with fireman.
Yes.
Yes.
How do you know fireman?
We met in our journeys in most auspicious manner at a ruined temple in the mountains. It was the scene of a terrible massacre perpetrated by
wait, slow down. Syria massacre at the temple. Whereabouts would this be?
Well, that will cost you 1 gold, friend.
Oh, that's not how it works. See, always share your information you share with me with others, and thus providing you a service.
Normally, I would be happy to share the location of such a horrible tragedy, but it is the site of a secret temple of Zanye.
Oh, all the more interesting then. Wait, Zan Wu? Wee Wei?
Close enough.
Woo.
He looks to the rest of you. So, giants.
Bull hears that and he says, this one here, Illith, speak of giants. Now you speak of giants.
I don't mind if I do. I spoke of giants as well, I'm the one that sort of connected all the dots for you.
He just stares Finch down.
Seems like everyone has giant problems these days.
And then Bull turns to Ming and he says, where did you say this raid was? This village? This temple?
It is a temple of Zanye, a secret temple that I cannot tell you the location of, but I will tell you this. As a result of the tragedy at the temple, I have sworn a vow of vengeance to seek out these giant kin and giants and punish them for their treachery and their betrayal. Will you join me?
Bull looks over at Illith, knowing that he had spoken of this before, of searching for other individuals to help him. Bull turns to him, to Ming, and says, my tribe has sent me in search of the disruptions that have been going on here in Headwater, or at Headwater, where we trade. It's clear that giants are involved. I'll be happy to search out and find where these giants are coming from. to bring more information back to my tribe.
You are from the region, then. This could prove, and he looks over at Imnada, this could prove very helpful in our mission. Would you join with us?
Bull kind of again looks over at Imnada, knowing Imnada from before, and he says, "That one's trustworthy. I will join you."
Finch hops down off of his chair and steps to the side and motions to a couple of, you would assume, are probably his cronies, henchmen. They're dressed all similarly, and has a quick word, and they dash off as y'all are speaking.
And what of you? He looks over at Elith. Would you also join with us? Are you on a quest against the giants?
Well, I came here in search of giants.
I do not know this region well, so I do not know where to begin. It was only a few days at the temple, but there was no sign of giants. They have moved on. Would you know, large one, where to seek them?
Yes, based on the little one's description, I know where to go next.
The name's Finch Cloak. He puffs on and gets his pipe all stoked back up again. I didn't mean any disrespect to your temple. I do apologize. Sorry, sir.
Again, Bull just looks and stares at him.
I might suggest that we make our way to Headwater first. They may have some intelligence that we can use.
Bull looks at Ilith. I can take you there. Fireman knows the way as well.
Well, I think I heard the word rangers thrown around. Perhaps they've scouted the area. Walking in blindly seems unwise.
Bull just kind of somewhat agrees passively, trying to give Ilith his kind of space, but knowing to himself that he knows the area as well as any of Ranger or whatnot, having traversed this area all throughout the Crystal Mists and even knowledge of the Jotun mountains, mountain range through his travels and his training. But he'll give Ilith his space to be able to kind of exert himself, and says, so be it, human. We can go get information.
Recruiting a force of some kind could be beneficial, but I'm afraid that the logistics and time involved could set us at a disadvantage. If we tarry too long in Headwater, you say, we may lose the trail. It may go cold. I urge expediency if possible.
It might be wise just to head to Headwater, see what the mayor there may or may not have heard, and also get some supplies, because I feel we're going to be heading up into the mountains.
I don't mean to stare or to be quite so forward, but you are a fascinating creature. Imnata, is it?
Yes, I am. I'm not a wizard.
I do not believe I have seen many of your kind before. And Elith stands up and sort of looks at him and sort of walks around where he's sitting, and he reaches up. May I again, I don't mean to be too forward, but may I touch your horns?
No.
Okay, well, what brings you here?
Well, I am from. I regularly patrol this entire region, and I have been hearing more and more discerning rumors of giant sightings, perhaps giant attacks. The rumors are getting more and more frequent, which makes me think they are less rumor and more fact.
Is your family from here?
Oh, we have wandered for a good chunk of my life, as you can imagine.
But your ancestors, do they hail from this area? May I touch your horns?
No, you may not. Um, yes, I mean we've been everywhere from the. Oh, I didn't write it. I wrote it down. From the White, Whitewood through to the Great Plains, Good Plains. Sorry, I just blanked out on my character history.
Fascinating.
Must have been the drink.
Yeah.
Well, it's indeed fascinating. Are you well accepted around here?
Part of why I tend to just wander. I don't tend to stay put too long. I know there are places like this where I can relax a bit more than others. Yes, some of the more learned humans are accepting. Some of the less learned are uh, basically think I'm going to eat their livestock. And
Yes, I imagine that would be a problem for you.
yes, it's a bit annoying actually
You know,
because I'm
devils.
really more of a vegetarian. But
Devils themselves don't have really the best of reputations, as you might imagine.
yes, this is quite true. Good thing
And
I'm
so,
not one.
well, I mean, you're not one, of course, but you have ancestry.
As you're speaking, Elith, Mindling Roy comes by and accidentally spills an entire ale down your back and kind of looks at you and sneers and flits off.
Ooh, seems I've upset the locals. Yep. Just briefly touch the horns. I have to say,
no.
I am fascinated by your kind. I'm merely an academic.
You've never seen horns before?
Well, I mean, again, I've never seen a real tiefling before. I've heard rumors that they're around.
Yes, we are real. And no, you may not.
Well, I find you very fascinating.
Well, I am.
I'm sorry, I got us off track. I do believe we should head into Headwater. Perhaps we could find some information. Perhaps someone, might want us to do other things and compensate us for those things while we're going.
Yes, I think information and supplies are what we need.
Bull hears this and says, "So be it," and gets up and goes back to his table where he started and collecting his shield and axe and knowing he's ready to kind of move along with this. He doesn't have time for this introspection and interest in other people's horns, etc. The last thing Bull wants is Illith to start pondering his bald head. And so he picks up his gear and says, "We must go."
Yeah, you would have also noticed Ming like never even sat down, and when you get up and say that, he just drinks the rest of whatever's in his cup and sets it down, and he says, "Ready when you are, big one."
Ming, make me a con save.
Oh shit! What?
DC 13.
Oh, I rolled a 19.
Okay. Yeah, so you feel the burn for sure, and you're kind of thinking, man, I didn't think that through.
What was it called? The Kraken's?
The Kraken's fury.
Yeah.
And you'd swear you felt like tentacles come up your throat as everything kind of mixes into your, but yeah.
As in, not a season's throwing back, he starts going, it's more of a sipping. Oh, never mind.
Yeah. Yeah. But you managed to keep it all.
When after you slam it down, I'll look at you. Impressive.
Thank you.
As all of you kind of ready yourselves for whatever it is that's about to happen, the door opens and you see a dwarf of some import come stepping through. He's looks like he could probably handle himself in a scrape, although he's aging. Scarred, beard with the braids, into his belt. He over his chain shirt. He has the livery of some settlement or fiefdom or something upon his shoulders. And he walks in. He's got a pipe between his teeth, a short sword at his belt, a throwing hammer on the other side. He bears the Black Hills gold. It's kind of copperish gold. Beautiful gold necklace with a warhammer on it. And behind him strides in a gnome, also looking to be, ready for action. Let me give you a good description here. Yeah, so this female gnome is in plate mail armor. Oh, sorry, hang on. Robes, which is totally not plate mail armor. Robes, a robed gnome, albeit the robes seem to be maybe not cloth, maybe, or some combination of cloth and metal weave, chain mesh, something like armored robes, perhaps. A bulge at her side, like maybe a concealed weapon that's not really terribly concealed. Kind of a set jaw. Has these electric blue gauntlet like leather gloves that are very, very fine looking, very, very striking. Looks to be maybe 40 seasons or more in age. Comes in with this dwarf. Oddly enough, her cloak has like white fur here and there, like dog hair on it. Here and there, and as do her breeches. And they walk directly over to the table where you're seated and immediately introduce themselves. Mayor Nandy Hillsplitter, this is Commander Tonwall. Understand you're looking for some information about the alleged, and he kind of looks around the room and people kind of go back to what they're doing, alleged situation here. And Roy comes over and brings a tankard of that same bloodthorn brew that the Goliath had been consuming. Doesn't bring anything for Commander Tonwall, the gnome. She comes in and very curtly nods her head, all business, steely blue eyes. And she does not sit. She stands behind a chair. And Finch smiles and nods. Oh, yes, I give you the mayor of the fine town of Headwater, Mayor Nandy Hillsplitter, and his fine commander, Commander Tonwell. Thank you for joining us on such short notice. Bull and Amnada, you know that Headwater is half a day from here. So it probably is a bit puzzling that they just randomly happened to get here now.
Mayor, how fortuitous. We were actually just getting ready to head to Headwater to seek out your counsel.
Good to see you, wizard. How are you?
I'm not a wizard.
Wizard. Sorry.
Thank you.
Yep. No, I know you're not a wizard, but it's your last name.
Yes, that would be a silly mistake to me.
It's Wizard. Sorry. Anyway, well met, friend. And Goliath, good to see you. I assume you're all here for the concerns we have. We've been hearing some reports, and we have concerns for the soldiers at the crag, don't we? And the gnome female nods.
If I may, Mayor, I have seen firsthand the destruction leveraged by giants in the mountains, not 2-3 days from here. It is only a matter of time before the lives of all people here in Headwater are impacted.
What, pray, tell us what you've witnessed.
Complete annihilation of good people in the hills at a temple.
A temple, you say? That's no good. And he kind of plays with the pendant, the warhammer on a chain, as you talk, and he seems very, very sincerely, gravely concerned and interested in what you're telling him.
All lives at the temple were lost.
Oh.
I am Ming, and I have sworn an oath to those who lost their lives at the temple to avenge them. My companions here, who most of us have just now met, intend to seek out the giants.
Giants, you say? What leads you to this conclusion?
various rumors that have been floating around this here tavern, my own eyes that have seen the tracks in the fresh snow around this temple, the destruction waged could be nothing other than giants.
Kind of, and he looks, as you're describing this, he looks over his shoulder at the gnome, and she's nodding like, they're in agreement that this is aligning. We've lost a family farm a few miles northeast into the foothills just 3 days ago. And a hunting encampment as well has been sacked. They found a huge club. And he nods over at the gnome, and she turns on her heel and walks out the door as you're speaking. I mean to send word to the Earl. Seems with giants being the apparent culprit, we can waste no time in calling for aid, but perhaps the 4 of you, and he eyes Finch very sternly, and Finch just kind of shrinks back a little bit, kind of commiserates with a couple of his fellows. Perhaps the 4 of you might have a look around. Certainly can't ask you to assail whatever group of giants there are, for giants are giants, and there's just too much for 4 people. But perhaps our most pressing concern now is the outpost, the Piney Crag. We're concerned. Teamsters left to take supplies there 10 days ago out of Headwater. And we've heard nothing. I don't want to assume the worst, but given all these other tales we're hearing, the Rangers' reports of seeing giants and orc kind and ogre moving about in the mountains, seems we may have a giant problem.
This one here, and he points over to Bull. Bull Mall knows these hills, knows these mountains, and has agreed to guide us to this crag.
Ah, these are glad tidings. And he nods at Bull. You two are well acquainted, from your tribe's trading and so forth. And Amnata will also serve as not only guide but guardian, both of them. I'm not.
Of course.
He looks over at Elith, kind of turns his head. Just as acquainted with you as I am with your friend Ming, but perhaps less so, for I do not know your name.
When he looks at Elith, Elith is sitting back in his chair, doesn't look like he's paying attention. He has in his hand what looks like a small dial disc hanging from a chain that's attached to his armor. And he's muttering, chanting some words. And as he does that, the back of where the drink was spilled down his back, and where it looks like it's all wet, it starts to shimmer as he chants softly while holding the device in his hand. And it starts to shimmer and fade in and out, and almost pulsate as it's shimmering and fading in and out. And as it comes back to normal, it looks like it's dry, and then he continues to chant, and it continues further down his back where it's wet, and it does the same thing until it's dry. And then he slips the device back into his pouch, and he looks back and sees that someone's looking at him, and he goes, "Oh, hello, I didn't see you join us. I'm Elith."
And from where do you hail?
"Oh, I hail from a great many places, most recently from Marner."
Ah, Marner. Very well. Know it well.
It's a fine place.
Yes, indeed. So when do you mean to set out?
Set out for where?
He kind of looks over at Bull and looks at Ming and looks at Wizard.
We were actually just getting ready to head out to Headwater, one, to meet with you to see if you had heard what kind of rumors you may have heard, and also to perhaps get some supplies before we head Head up into the mountains.
Well,
Bull interrupts and he goes, Chief Dwarf, you come to meet us here? You bring supplies for us here?
what do you need? I'll see that they're brought.
We need horse. We need food. We need.
Those are two different things, by the way.
They're not mutually exclusive, however.
Bull looks at him and Bull looks at him. He goes, simple magic, and turns back right to the chief dwarf and says, Chief Dwarf. So he knows what Illith is all about, and he knows what is going on there, and all it's just simple magic. And then turns back and said, "We need horse, we need supplies." Then we go.
Easy enough to do. As we're talking, the gnome Commander Tonwall comes in, and she has this humongous club that's actually bigger than her over her shoulder. And she's walking in, and as she turns, she's, just would ordinarily be wreaking havoc in here with this huge, club that's got, hair on it and blood. And, it looks like it's been used recently. And as she's swinging around the Bloodthorn, things that would get knocked over, you see Mindling Roy at lightning speed moving things and getting things out of the way. She's swinging around with this club, and people are just automatically, it's almost like a scene from the Matrix as she comes over. Nothing ends up getting knocked over, spilt, crashed into. Nobody gets hit with the thing, and she lays it on the table with a humongous thud. She's obviously quite capable, quite strong. She moves very athletically, smoothly, like lithe, dexterous, like she knows her way around a fight. And she kind of snarls. This was found at the hunting encampment with ample boot prints from large creatures, giants. I mean to accompany you to Piney Crag to see if my soldiers, and she just kind of stops, clears her throat, to see to their welfare.
Bull looks down at the table and picks up the club and just kind of does one of these, spins it around.
It's a club that you would expect to see a hill giant wield.
And when he has it, it's almost like when he picks it up, it's almost like he's got a baseball bat. He just kind of twirls it around a little bit in his fingers and sees and puts it down, and he goes, definite giants. These are humans on the club. And so he notices all the kind of hair, like Goliaths have no hair. They're completely hairless. And so he can tell that these are human remnants that are on the club.
For sure. Bits and pieces, detritus, whatever you want to call it, ichor. So then, how about you wait here, and I will arrange for supplies for your departure immediately.
Very generous of you.
We should not like to wait long, though, Your Eminence.
Of course, no. And again, I am deeply, deeply saddened by the passing of I assume these were your people.
They were worshippers of the Lady of Perfection like myself, yes. Good souls.
Well, may the fortune and strength of Fortubo protect you all. And he kind of clenches his holy symbol. And she bows her head as he says that. And she also has a very similar, same metal, maybe a little less masculine version of that holy symbol, for lack of a better description.
And Nada knows her, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and I
She's
would
the one
say,
that
I mean,
rides.
you're like acquainted. You don't spend a lot of time in town, but you know who the
Yeah.
officials at Headwater are.
She's the one that rides a wolf.
The big white timber wolf, yes.
Yeah.
The plate mail wearing big white timber wolf. She's badass.
Okay.
But you've never seen her do much in the way of like combat, which is odd. Like she's the commander of the guard of the security forces of the local militia. And everyone seems to respect and defer to her. You also know that she is very, very close with the mayor, which is how he prefers to be addressed. He's the mayor. And you know that he has been in his role for many decades, and everyone believes that he was, appointed by and is close to and serves at the pleasure of His Magnificence, the Earl of Steerage.
And she intends to come with us. Is that correct?
Yes, I do. I mean to. Yes.
As Ming sort of assesses this and her in particular, does
Sure.
he get the sense that she's capable, or that she is, more of a bureaucrat? How much of a liability is she going to be, is basically what he's trying to determine.
Yeah. Well, let me give you a better description. Again, details are hard in this place because of the smoke, the flickering, the lights, everything. A little bit hard to see. Let me get to it here. Hang on a second.
By the way, this seems like my kind of tavern for sure.
Yeah?
Yeah, I would love
Yeah,
to visit this place.
Don't you know? Okay. Sorry. Probably the feature that stands out the most is, again, she's got this steely look in her eye, because one of her eyes is sewn shut due to a deep scar that runs diagonally across her face. Again, tough to pick up in the shadows, the darkness. Again, she's never really fully approached the table. She's been quiet. Very clearly, she takes direction from the mayor. Again, armored robes, electric blue leather gloves. And again, you get the sense that she's got riding boots on, hair kind of pulled back, golden, gnomish kind of hair, maybe 40 seasons or so. She's been alive. Moves very athletically, very confident, steely, kind of resolute, quiet demeanor. And you would guess that under that cloak on her left hip is some sort of weapon or something, because there's some bulk there. So your assessment, if you want to, let's go ahead and maybe roll insight.
Yeah, there we go.
Let's do that and see what the dice tell us.
That is going to be a total of 16.
Yeah. You get a very, very comfortable sense that she's not going to be a liability.
Okay.
At all. And in fact, these are her people. And so you, who comes from a kind of a monastic order that understands duty, honor, hierarchy, are not surprised that she would want to go there versus send people she doesn't know very well to check in her place.
He takes note of all that and just comments, "It would be an honor to have you in our party."
I need to see that my soldiers are well. Indeed.
Of course.
The sooner we can be away. The provisions are being arranged and will be ready within the hour.
Do I know her wolf's name?
It is Scarsbale. SKAARS BAEL. I'll write it in chat, in actual Twitch chat.
And how is
And
Scarsbale?
you've seen this thing. It's actually a monstrosity. It's big. It's a big white wolf. It wears plate mail, so it has like a helm that's fashioned for a wolf, and it goes back over its back to where she has like a blanket and saddle that's been fashioned. And it protects the wolf's shoulders and haunches, like its front haunches, back to where she sits. So you get the impression that perhaps even her knees and thighs might be protected by this plate mail. And so, gnomes are what, about 4 feet tall, give or take, 4'1", 4'2", 3'11". So this has got to be a pretty significant sized animal, and it is, because you've seen it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so you all sit around and continue on, and a soldier, again wearing this time like chainmail, full chainmail, longsword, tabard with the same heraldry that the other two, the commander and the mayor, have on their armor and so forth, comes in and nods, and the provisions you requested are prepared. Which just seems to strike you as, holy shit. They just got 4 horses, food for whatever period of time you're thinking, I don't know, a week. And any other general equipment that you've requested.
Wow.
Something odd about that, because again, we're a half day's ride from Headwater.
Well,
by the way, Finch is gone. Finch left. Did he leave? I don't know where, but he's not. Where did Finch go?
Comes, Finch goes.
So it's the 4 of you and the commander and the mayor.
And what's the commander's name again?
Her name is Harvash Tonwall. I'll write that in the Twitch chat. Sorry, words and typing for me are things that cannot happen simultaneously.
Yeah, I think at least for Ming, like, he's pretty anxious to continue the hunt as soon as possible. So while it is odd to him that the provisions and these arrangements are being made in such a quick fashion, he's really not going to question it and think of it more as a blessing from the Lady of Perfection that they would be able to perhaps set out sooner rather than later.
Mm-hmm. Anybody who wants to kind of maybe understand, you've heard Ming refer to the Lady of Perfection. If you want to make a religion roll, and then you also heard the mayor refer to Fortubo and his blessings. So first, let's see if anybody wants to know more about the Lady of Perfection.
Bull got a 12.
Okay. And I'm gonna ask Dave to officiate this and adjudicate those rolls. Tell them what you think they might know about your deity based on their rolls.
Okay. So you got a 12?
Bull's got a 12.
Well, is it safe to say I would probably know some just from having my many visits or my visits to that temple over the years?
You might. So add like 3 to your roll.
It's a 16.
Okay.
You would probably, I mean, Zanye has gained some popularity in the Flanaess. The temples are often hidden. They're not places that you would just, if you weren't an adherent or worshiper, that you would just know where they were or be able to walk into them. They're often hidden in obscure places. And she really deals with mental and physical mastery over mind and matter, twilight, shadows. She's associated with cunning and stealth. The symbol is a black lotus blossom. The core of the worshippers are Baklunish in heritage, and is sometimes associated with domains of knowledge, trickery, war, perhaps. And there's this sort of core tenet of the religion, of this sort of universal mind and this striving for perpetual harmony. So a lot of times the clergy of Zanye would be out trying to help to restore balance in some way. It could be a small gesture, or it could be something much greater than that.
Nice. Okay, anybody want to take a swing at Fortubo?
Ooh. 10.
Dirty 20.
Hell yeah.
You're muted, Bull.
Same 20.
So Bull and I'm not a you know Fortubo to be the god of stone, metals, mountains, guardianship. Originally part of the Sul pantheon, but he abandoned the Suluese when he discovered that the Sul were behind the creation of the Darrow. Fortubo favors dwarves and some gnomes as well. The holy symbol is a warhammer with a glowing head, or any real warhammer. Very, very close ally of the dwarven deities. Often worshipped by those who guard or serve miners or who mine. So kind of typical that would be a deity in these parts, especially with a dwarf. He's a human, of the Suluese pantheon. He's a human deity, but he actually looks like a dwarf, and he favors dwarves. So that's kind of he's a kind of a lesser deity. Domains are community, earth, protection, good, law, mysticism. So there's probably a lot of mystical rituals and rune type things associated, iconography associated with Fortubo. And that's not a widely worshipped deity necessarily. It's definitely a niche, if you will, very, very particular to miners and dwarves and dwarven miners and gnomes. So it kind of stands to reason, makes sense that the mayor, Hillsplitter, and Captain Tonwall or Commander Tonwall are worshippers.
It would kind of make sense that Ming doesn't really know anything about that deity because he as you can imagine, from a backloonish sort of heritage, has a fair disdain, perhaps, for the history of the Sul.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Very good. Well, your provisions, we have out what you need out in front of the Bloodthorn. My desk chair keeps leaking air and I keep sinking down. It's very handy. So you may be off at once. We are certainly grateful for any assistance, and having Commander Tonwall with you will get you to the Piney Crag quickly as can be. It is still a day or so ride from here.
Let's not waste any more time. Thank you for your generosity.
Yes, of course. All right, so you all exit? Yeah, and so Commander Harvash Tonwall, as you exit the Bloodthorn, and as all this talking and so forth was going on, once the club was brought in, right, a lot of people were watching and listening, but as you all leave, it just kind of goes back to its, again, there's a couple of sprites in here, there are elves, there's a couple of bards, various languages. Wasn't the only tiefling, albeit there weren't like a lot, but there were a couple of others. It's just a very, very cool, there's like maybe at the end of the bar near the ship's wheel as a light source, there's like a brass brazier with fire, but you're not really sure where the fire's coming from because you don't see it burning anything. That's like a light source, and strange floating globes of different colors providing light here and there. It's just definitely a unique setting. And you step outside into the cool air, and sure enough, there are 4 horses, all outfitted. There are some saddlebags and things on the horses that you quickly deduce contain iron rations for your journey. There are like blanket rolls, bed rolls. There are a couple of furs on each animal so that if you wish to wrap yourselves if it gets cold. Everything you need to journey into the foothills. And you'll basically be following a river kind of due east for a while, and then heading southeast from there as you make your way away from the mirth and merriment and laughter and warmth of the Bloodthorn and off into the cold darkness of the foothills of the Jotun's Mountains. At the lead, perched atop this absolutely magnificent white wolf that none of you feels confident, at least Ming and Elith probably do not feel confident enough to get near just yet. A really, really, really large, big white wolf, probably larger than a giant wolf. Snow White has the barding with the livery of which you assume to be Headwater. It's not the heraldry of Sterich. The plate mail with the kind of the helm and the rings of plate mail that go back, the plates that go back to where Commander Tonwall is seated upon it, and she leads you. It's kind of game trail. Once you start to leave the stream that is rushing away from you, kind of behind you in the direction of Headwater, down out of the mountains, you would presume. It's very rocky as far as the stream is concerned. A lot of moving water. It's not a huge waterway, water course. Not a ton of trees down this low, although you can see ahead that the forest will begin to thicken as it climbs, as the forest and the woods kind of climb the slopes of the foothills. And straight ahead of you, you see the craggy, white, snow-covered, ice-covered peaks of the Jotuns, and you know that up in there lie the lair or the compound, wherever they are. No one knows a lot about the giants, but up in those mountains, you know, your fate awaits you as you make your way. Feel free to banter or dialogue. Commander Tonwall is very quiet. There's no snow this far down the hillside because you're still in the valley, if you will. With the river and all of the other tributaries here, but it's chilly. And again, not a lot of trees. It's more dry scrabble, rock, dead grass, that sort of thing. The occasional small stand of trees, but it's kind of wide open.
I think, at least for Ming, he would be interested in, when possible, I know they're riding on horses, but if they were to stop perhaps to water the horses or whatever it might be, to ask
Sure.
Tonwall about the defenses of Piney Crag itself and what we might expect in terms of the immediate terrain surrounding the stronghold.
Sure. Yeah, so she's speaking to you as you maybe stop, as you said, to maybe grab a snack or water horses, water the wolf. Maybe the wolf goes over to do his piddles and potties. Hey, Piney Crag indeed is a small outpost, more for observation than for to raise a great defense. But it's a palisade, no more than 60 feet square, give or take, with a few small dwellings inside for no more than 8 or so militia. And we keep it rotating every 2 weeks. And that's where the concern is. We haven't heard anything in over 2 weeks. And even in the last 10 days, there's been a group of teamsters make their way up to know who knows what. We've heard nothing.
And these soldiers of yours stationed at Piney Crag, are they of the highest caliber? Are they seasoned veterans? Are they recruits? I fear for 8
right.
against the giants.
It would only take 1 or 2 giants. Maybe not those fat, slobbery, stupid hill giants, mind you. 8 of our men could take down a couple of those with some casualties. But if one of them frosty, icy bastards or them flaming, fiery bitches come in there, that would do us in. Even as stalwart and stout as our forces are, they're not recruits in green, mind you. They've seen some things. They've all killed. They've killed bandits and they've killed monsters, but none of us have ever really directly faced with giants. It's only the thing of legend and story. So I don't rightly know what we're dealing with firsthand, but I know that they're not to be trifled with, and more than a couple will do us in.
Well, I pray to the gods that your men and women at arms are safe when we arrive.
Thank you, as do I. She clutches, right, her holy symbol while you speak. I do know, and this is the reason why we've always had the Piney Crag. It sits in a rocky outcropping surrounded by pines. Yeah. Good vantage point. It's a high spot where they can keep an eye on the goings on in the area, but it's situated in such a way as to be right between where we believe to be a settlement of hill giants up in the mountains, where we believe they're still up there. We've, like I said, we've not seen hide nor hair of them over decades, and yet now we have tell of these goings on.
We'll get to the bottom of it one way or another. Imnada said that there would be heroic individuals at the Bloodthorn that would be willing to set out on a treacherous quest such as this, and looking at this group here, I feel a sense of hope.
I feel good about my company for sure. I do. I know the Goliath to be a stout warrior, stout of heart, stout of body, and I know the druid there can take care of himself. I don't know about Elith, but seems
I
to be.
Don't think anyone
up for it.
does.
Yeah.
When you look over at him, you swear that his clothes have changed. You seem to remember that in the tavern he was wearing some sort of armor, but now he seems to be wearing like a riding outfit. He's got a little hat, a little riding outfit, a little crop with him. Something like a noble might wear on a fox hunt or something.
High knee boots, tight black knee boots.
Right. Nice.
That's hot.
Last we were aware, Chief Nasenra is the chief of these, supposedly, these hill giants up here. Nasty folk. Clever enough to be troublesome, but not super sharp, keen edge mind. But not to be taken lightly just by their sheer size and number. And if they're taken up with ogre and orc kind like we're hearing, this is troubling.
Look over at Bull. Do you know of this chieftain and what we might be up against with these hill giants?
Bull turns back to Ming. I know of many chieftains. I know of many giant chieftains through the history surrounding that come back to our village. This one specific, some information. Sloth. If anything, we could potentially even defeat him. The others, we will need help.
You know, Bull knows that hill giants are sneaky. They lack honor. They're lazy. They're clever but stupid. They're nasty, just self-centered, plundering. They're not with it enough to really, if they take slaves, it's by sheer overpowering them, not by any intellectual mastery, where they've tricked them or anything like that. And their backstabbing cannot be trusted. Oddly enough, there's some sort of, while you obviously disdain or dislike or hate all giant kind that you've encountered in the region, there's some honor among frost giants and fire giant. There's some code or something. It may be evil and but man, the hill giants, no, there's just no code of it. They'll backstab one another. They are absolutely, and that's what makes them so dangerous, other than the fact that they're just big and strong.
Are they organized enough to mount an attack of the kind that I described upon my temple?
Bull looks back at Ming and says, we have known hill giants to be able to attack. Uh, they're usually small, single attacks of uh, tribes of ours that have had incursions with giants. Most have been able to be beaten back simply. I would not worry about this hill giant as much as what I fear what might be further uh, uh, beyond this hill giant of others that might be a more fearsome foe.
Understood.
So you're mounted again, and you can be close enough, obviously, to speak and have conversation as you track. And she leads you further up into away from the valley floor, the stony, rocky, scrabbly valley floor, into again. There are no really great woods or forests in this part of the Flanaess. There are stands of trees, copses, wood lots, that sort of thing. But it's really rocky and fairly barren. But as you begin to ascend upward ever so slightly, making your way into the foothills and, like little slots in between hills and things, there are more like junipery, cedar, piney, evergreen, stands of trees, and then it's barren for a while as you make your way into the foothills of the Jotuns, which is, you're basically, yeah, Dave, zooming in on the map there. If you're kind of heading due southeast up that river course that you see, that stream from headwater. You had to go south to get to it from where you were at the Bloodthorn, and you know that your ride is going to be 2 to 3 days getting up in there. But you're very quickly, you're making time. It was evening when everyone was meeting at the Bloodthorn. You're all tired. It's been a long day. Ming and Amnata have spent 2 to 3 days getting to the Bloodthorn. And at some point the commander will kind of call a stop to the march and suggest that you make camp for the evening. Maybe she's found like a place where you can find a little shelter. It's defensible, that sort of thing. And she hops down and well, if this seems as good a place as any to the rest of you, and she kind of defers to Amnata and Bull around the terrain, and have a look about, and if this looks all right to you, then we should make our camp and set for the rest of for a watch, set a watch and get some rest so we can get on the move again tomorrow.
So Bull, you see him. It's the other party. Watch him as he is able to. As when he gets off his horse, he dismounts, and it's like he's been riding horses for hundreds of years. Like I mean, a person that's that big, you'd never imagine that he'd be able to get on and off the horse as quickly and easily as he was able to. So just as quickly as he got down, he was able to right next to a tree, tied the horse, and then within a minute or two, he's looking in the area, scouting it out to see whether or not this appears to be something that would be suitable for them to be to make camp. Again, knowing that he's done this countless times, you can tell that like his treks back and forth through the region, he knows how to do this. That this is not like he's some this is the first time that he's ever been, on a mission, something like this, or even traveling by himself. And and more importantly, he knows the area. And so he comes back to the group and says, "This appears to be good for tonight, at least. We make camp, we set watch, and then we leave in the morning."
Perhaps we could have some dinner.
Bull, without even kind of like, it's almost like he doesn't even recognize what was just said. He just goes back about his belongings, and he starts to take out some of the rations, even including food for the rest of the group. Thinking, why would he even Illa say this? It's obvious that they're going to eat.
Well, I was thinking more. Perhaps we could have a fire and have a hot meal.
And then
Save the rations for some other time.
Bolt stares him. So stupid human. Attract giants. Fire. Stupid human.
Well, we start drawing them out. We pick them off one by one. Am I right?
There is some wisdom to, since we do not know where they are at the moment. Perhaps we should be a little more low key in our campsite here.
Exactly my thinking. Well, fine. If you don't want to have a fire, we can live like savages, I suppose. Have some rations, whatever.
And then Anada will reach into a pouch, and we're kind of in the middle of the circle. He'll just place down this cube and kind of mutter something, and it will start to radiate a very, very generous amount of warmth, as if there was a fire, but no, without the light of the flame. This should keep the chill away for the night.
Okay. Seems fair. Anyone else doing anything? Ming?
Yeah, I think Ming would, once they're settled into a camp spot and he's got his, his bedroll out and he's, keeping warm as best he can, he would probably do some sort of prayer ceremony to kind of close out the day and to, seek some guidance and protection from the lady. As they, as has embarked upon his promised quest to seek vengeance.
Okay. Any idea like what the prayer ritual might involve or look like, or will they even notice, or are you going to kind of go off?
Yeah, he would have some. He would do it. He wouldn't be hiding it really. He'd be probably right kind of there, and he's sort of burning some incense in a small bowl, just a little bit of incense, and he sprinkles some powdered silver dust into it as well, which gives off a little bit of a plume of kind of a silvery flame, and he is speaking in Beclunish as he chants and says his prayer.
Very well. Yeah. Commander Tanwal would have a look around with Bull just to acquaint herself with kind of the perimeter and offer to take first watch. And recommend against any fires, just for not knowing what the hell's out there now that there's concern about giant kind and other folk moving around.
Anyone within 30 feet of that cube of brimstone is quite comfortable. So,
okay, is that can you describe that again? If I missed that, I'm sorry.
Small little cube of brimstone, and it generates. It's the thermal cube. It generates.
So it's not fire. Yeah.
No, not fire, just heat.
Yeah, I think she was more kind of responding to Elith's request.
Yeah.
For fire and all of that. So, yeah. So she offers to take first watch. How long do we wish to tarry here?
Well, I for one think we need a good night's sleep. Nothing good comes from being poorly rested.
You are wise.
I'm more concerned about moving around in the dark. Perhaps we should wait for, once the sunrise.
Oh, indeed, and at least until the sun rises.
Well, we are probably 3 hours from that.
Well, I suggest we get a good 8 hours. I can be quite a cranky person without a good 8 hours of sleep in me.
You may need to catch up with us then.
Yeah.
Once you wake.
4 to 6 hours it is.
I think 6 would be best. Or to give everyone a chance to rest fully.
Well, don't say I didn't warn you.
We'll take our chances with cranky men.
Cranky man. Cranky human.
Okay, so she kind of walks off to find a good vantage point. The wolf is eating. She pulled maybe some rabbits from, not from her hat, but maybe from a sack that was, tied to the armor of the wolf. And she feeds the wolf, Scarbale. And the evening settles down. With that, I think it's a good spot to hit pause and stop. And we'll pick our game back up in the morning. As you're on your way southeastward to the Piney Crag outpost.
Oh man, that's
Right.
awesome.
Great. Well played, friends. So you've got just a couple more minutes to get in on the giveaway. Looks like Asher just got in there. Good job. Again, exclamation point giveaway is the magic elixir that if you imbibe that, you will be entered, or just type it into chat, maybe, if you're not fond of, elixirs. So let's go around the horn here. Chris,
Hey,
anything you want to do to log off, sign off, outro, whatever you want to tell us the fans?
I am WikiVA on Discord and Twitch. I am happy to be back. I love playing with this group of fellers, and I'm looking forward to a good long campaign.
Very good. All right, Bob.
Great job, Wiley. Great start, guys. I'm Doc Shoulder, and just happy to be back playing in this group, and look forward to what comes next with character development.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Great. Carl.
I am Carl, Carnage on the Discord, both with a K. You can see me here regularly as we play.
Very nice. Very nice. And finally, producer and player of Ming, Mr. Dave.
Thank you so much, guys, for this awesome session. I'm so excited. My name's Dave. Play games, produce games, run games over on Guild Superior. So if you have a hankering for some more Greyhawk, I run a Greyhawk campaign on Tuesday nights, which will be kicking back up on the 4th of November to coincide with a kickoff of a 12-day fundraising campaign.
Wow.
To raise money. Yeah, Games for Love is the charity that we're going to be working to raise money for. We have something like 15 different games that will be going on in those 12 days between Guild Superior and Phoenix Iwaki's channel. There are probably 20 players involved, and lots of session giveaways and some grand prizes that will be given away at the end of the campaign. So come on over. If you can make a donation, even $5 will get you entered to win a session giveaway and a grand prize.
Nice. Yeah. Awesome. All right. So this is the first episode of Secrets of the Flanaess 2. We're doing against the Giants, and the party is on their way. They've met. They've had some fantastical mystical libations, courtesy of Todd Stashwick and company and the Mystical Libations book. Very, very cool. Highly recommend you get that. It's a fun thing to drop into your game. And they're on the road. They're on the road to Piney Crag Outpost, where I'm sure everything is fine. And so we'll be back, I think, November 5th, if my very, very poor memory serves. I think that's when this group reconvenes. We also play a game on Sunday. At least we rumored to play a game on Sundays. With Chris and Carl, totally separate, totally different, down in the south of Alyssa, down near the vast swamp. So hoping to get back to that one pretty soon. That's also a Sunday afternoon game. How Comes the Darkness? That sounds totally, uplifting and Christmassy. So hopefully we'll get back to that. But yeah, everybody, thanks for hanging out. And we will do this. I want to raid into Blue Box. They're cooking right along with their usual Sunday afternoon. I think they're probably in Airdy. I think that's their Sunday game. But before we do that, I'm going to close out the giveaway, and we're going to find out who just won a thing. So let me close the entries. Did everybody get in that wanted to get in? Everyone? All right, here we go. Entries are closed. I'm going to pick a wiener. Stump-O-Matic.
Oh,
Congratulations,
Stump. Very cool, man. So hit me up, or I'll hit you up. I will write that down, and we will get that on its way to you, so that you can have a copy of this here adventure. Just making a note. Oh, there he is.
denote.
Okay, so let me hit the raid button and see if exciting things happen. Luox, start raid. I'd like to thank everybody for hanging out. Thank Dave for producing.
My pleasure.
It seems like a whole different D&D when I don't have to, do work. So we're gonna go ahead and raid now. We'll see y'all next time. Thanks for hanging out. And 3 weeks we'll be back.
See you next time.
See ya.
All right, we should be raiding. If everything goes
Yep.
right. I don't. Can you
Yep,
tell
we
there, Dave?
did.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
good.
we did it.
We did it. So we did a game and a raid. We did all the things, y'all. So I hope that was an okay
Awesome.
start.
Great
Great
start.
job.
Got
Yes.
going. I was right in that crack to do more stuff or not do more stuff, or like right coming up on 5 o'clock. So I think we picked a good spot to
Great.
park the horses, and we'll pick it up again next time.